Chapter 606. Provincial Capital University Medical College Class 1. The sun rose from the east, and the birds chirped happily. There was still half an hour before the first class in the morning, but the classroom of Class 1 was already full of people. Students walked into the classroom from time to time. Those who came later couldn't get a seat and could only stand in the aisle at the back of the classroom. Those who came later couldn't get a seat in the aisle at the back, so they had to stand on the aisles on both sides of the classroom. Those who came later shook their heads in disappointment when they saw that the classroom was already full. They wanted to come back after the first class. They didn't believe that no students went to the toilet after the first class. As long as they saw someone going to the toilet, they would squeeze in and fight for a seat. This was Xiaofeng's charm. It was only his second day in school, and he had only given 2 classes, but he was already deeply loved by the students. Seeing that the first class was about to begin, a group of men and women in suits and leather shoes strode toward the medical college Class 1. These people were foreigners with high noses and blue eyes. They were the exchange delegation from the St. Medical College of the United States. Mike walked in front of the group. His silver hair was neatly combed at the back of his head. Although he was old, he looked energetic. Behind Professor Mike was the lecturer delegation. They were all middle-aged lecturers between the ages of 35 and 40. Behind them were Avril and the other 4 exchange students. The students of Provincial Capital University were very familiar with these 5 people, especially Avril. Many students were talking behind her back about how big her bra size was. Professor Mike, the medical college is in front. We asked around yesterday, and Xiaofeng will be in Class 1 today. Avril, who was walking behind, said in a cold but pleasant voice. Professor Mike and his group stopped and looked at the relatively old building of the medical college in front of them. When Professor Mike came back to his senses, he walked straight toward Class 1. They're here. They're here. The exchange team from the St. Medical College is here. Before Mike and the others reached the classroom door, the row of students by the window screamed. After Xiaofeng defeated Avril and the others yesterday, everyone guessed that the lecturer representative of the American exchange team would bring people to cause trouble today, and it was as they had expected. How many people are here? Are there many pretty girls? Is Avril here? Is she still wearing the sexy short skirt from yesterday? The students on the other side of the wall were extremely anxious. They tiptoed to look out of the window, but the class was packed with people, and they couldn't see anything at all. There's a dozen or so people, led by an old man. The lecturer's delegation is made up of middle-aged women. Some of them have big breasts, but their legs are too thick, like little elephants' legs. Avril is here. Wow! She's still wearing a short skirt and knee socks today, but her socks have changed to purple ones. She's so sexy. Knowing that Avril was wearing a short skirt and knee socks in the middle of winter, the male students in the class went crazy. It turned out that these people weren't here to listen to Xiaofeng's lecture, but to see Avril. Have you never seen a miniskirt before? Did you guys just come out from the deep mountains and wild forests? Don't make such a big fuss. Don't you feel ashamed? The girls in the class were immediately unhappy. They usually wore sexy short skirts, but they had never seen boys so crazy. That can't be compared. Foreign girls have long breasts, long legs, and fair skin. It's addictive to look at them. The boys immediately explained the truth, and the few girls who were complaining just now immediately went silent. At this time, Professor Mike had already led a group of people to the door of Class 1. Just as he stepped into the classroom, Professor Mike was shocked by the situation inside. He suddenly stopped at the door and forgot to go inside. It seemed like there was nowhere to go. Professor Mike, why did you suddenly stop? The 2 lecturers behind didn't pay attention to Professor Mike and directly bumped into his back. Professor Mike didn't even have the time to cry out in pain when the 2 male lecturers held their heads and screamed. Mike was almost bumped into by the 2. He angrily stared back at them. Go? Go where? Go back. All of you go back. The group of people had just walked to the door and hadn't even entered the classroom. Now they had retreated. It was extremely funny, and the students in the class couldn't help but laugh. The group of people retreated to the classroom's window. Seeing the fiery situation in the classroom, everyone was shocked. Did they go to the wrong place? This was clearly the dance floor of a nightclub. Avril, what's going on? Did you remember the wrong way? Mike looked at Avril and the others, his tone a little cold. That's right, this is the place. I don't know why so many students came today. Avril was sure that the place couldn't be wrong. Owen also stood up and said, Professor Mike, this is the place. The afternoon before yesterday, we defeated that rubbish Western medicine teacher in this class. At that time, the class wasn't full. The teacher was scratching his feet on the podium and reading the text. Most of the students were sleeping, and those who weren't sleeping were playing with their phones. They looked lifeless. Why are all of them so excited today? Willis, Peter, and Jack also looked like they had Alzheimer's disease. It wasn't like this, right? Could it be that they had transmigrated? Everyone, good morning. Just when everyone was at a loss, Xiao Feng walked over leisurely. This guy had simply come on time for the class bell. Professor Mike and the others' gazes fell on Xiao Feng. Avril had already walked to Mike's side and whispered something into his ear. Professor Mike began to size up Xiao Feng again. His eyes gleamed with a strange light. Ah, so it's Professor Xiao Feng. I've heard a lot about you. After staring at Xiao Feng for a while, Mike suddenly smiled and took the initiative to shake hands with Xiao Feng. Qin Feng was also sizing up Mike. He could tell that this old man was the representative of the St. Second Medical Institution. Qin Feng thought to himself, if this old man is sent by the William family, then he must be an expert among experts at his age. Haha, you flatter me. This is only my second day at Provincial Capital University. What kind of reputation do I have? May I know how to address you, senior? Qin Feng held Mike's hand and said with a smile, Hee, call me Professor Mike. That's what everyone calls me. Mike spoke in Chinese, and he spoke it quite fluently. Qin Feng suddenly increased his strength to test Mike's strength. Professor Mike screamed in pain and squatted on the ground. Ouch! Professor Xiao Feng, let go of me. It hurts. It hurts so much that my bones are about to break. An old man in his 60s was squatting on the ground with cold sweat all over his forehead. He was groaning in pain. This scene instantly enraged the representatives of the St. Second Medical University. They surrounded Qin Feng and looked as though they wanted to bite him to death. Hey, why are you so rude? Our Professor Mike is in his 60s. Why are you pinching him? Do you think this is arm wrestling? Let go of our Professor Mike. You Chinese people are too rude. Oh, I know. Did you know that Professor Mike is here today? Are you afraid that your medical skills are inferior to Professor Mike's? That's why you want to break Professor Mike's hand. That's right. That must be it. The representatives of the St. Second Medical Association were all talking at once. Even Qin Feng was impressed by their imagination. Professor Mike's forehead was drenched in cold sweat, and his face was as red as a pig's liver. Qin Feng quickly let go of the old man's hand. Did I guess wrong? Hee, Professor Mike, I'm really sorry. I'm born with great strength. Sometimes, I can't control my strength when I'm agitated. I'm too excited to see Professor Mike. I heard that Professor Mike sells the best French fries. I must try them when I have the chance. There was a saying that one should never hit a smiling person. Qin Feng's face was radiant and pure, so the representatives of the St. Second Medical Association did not know what to do with him. Idiot. McDonald's sells French fries. Our Professor Mike is a Western medicine professor. Peter glared at Qin Feng with an arrogant and disdainful attitude. The members of the St. Second Medical Association twitched their mouths. Of course, they had heard Qin Feng mention that Professor Mike sold French fries. However, it was obvious that Qin Feng was insulting the professor. It would be better if Qin Feng did not say it out loud. Instead, it would be embarrassing for the representatives of the St. Second Medical Association. Everyone was well aware that they did not mention this matter. Only Pete, who was muscle-bound and simple-minded, was foolish enough to be proud of himself. I've long heard that the representative students of the St. Second Medical Association are all roosters among the elites. This young man is not bad. Since everyone is at the entrance of the classroom, why don't we go in and listen to the lecture? It's time for class. After Qin Feng finished laughing, he acted as if nothing had happened and walked into Class 1's classroom, minding his own business. Peter's expression became even prouder when he was singled out by Qin Feng. He muttered to himself, You have good taste, kid. After entering the classroom, Qin Feng finally understood why Professor Mike and the others were standing outside the classroom. Professor Qiao Feng, you're late. You're late by 3 minutes and 3 seconds. You'll have to make up for the lost time after class. Professor Qiao Feng, were you fighting with the representatives of the Saint Second Medical Association just now? Do you need our help? If your medical skills are inferior to the representatives of their lecturers, you should tell us earlier. We'll cripple their lecturers' hands and let them compete with you. The corner of Qin Feng's mouth twitched violently when he heard the students coming up with all kinds of rotten ideas. These were all his students. When Professor Mike saw that Qin Feng had entered the classroom, he led a group of people to the classroom's entrance. Professor Mike heard the students' rotten ideas as soon as he entered the classroom. He was so angry that he almost fell to the ground. Professor Qiao Feng, there are too many students in your class. I'm afraid that more than half of them are from other classes or departments. I hope you can drive away the extra students so that the quality of teaching will not be affected. Professor Mike had a belly full of anger even before he started his medical competition with Qin Feng. The students in the class were not happy to hear Mike's words and started to shout angrily. They started to complain because they didn't want to leave. They still wanted to watch Professor Qiao Feng act cool and learn from him. Be quiet. Be quiet. Qin Feng slammed the table, and the students didn't dare to make a sound. Qin Feng didn't reprimand the students for being noisy. Instead, he looked at Professor Mike and said, Professor Mike, this is how I usually teach. I never ask the extra students which department or class they are from. As long as they sincerely want to learn Chinese medicine and like to listen to my class, then they are my students. I teach Chinese medicine and knowledge, not students. If Professor Mike thinks the classroom is too crowded, then don't come in and listen to my class. Qin Feng's tone was relaxed, but it was filled with unquestionable determination. The more than 200 students in the class were moved to tears. Professor Mike was so angry that he blew his beard and glared at Qin Feng, but he couldn't refute Qiao Feng. This was Provincial Capital University's classroom, and this was Qiao Feng's class. What could Professor Mike do? How arrogant. If you don't want to listen, then don't listen. Who do you think you are? Your class isn't worthy of our Professor Mike's status. Peter, who was standing at the back of the crowd, was already angry. He turned around and was about to leave. At this time, Professor Mike brought the group into the classroom. Everyone lined up on the podium behind Qin Feng. Peter walked halfway and looked back. He immediately chased after Qin Feng. Professor Mike, AI? Everyone wait for me. The classroom was full, and only the podium had some space. However, this space was usually reserved for teachers and students who were punished for being mischievous in class. Professor Mike and his group stood there and were stared at by more than 200 students below. They felt a little uncomfortable all over their bodies. However, things had already come to this, so Professor Mike had no other choice. He stood at the very center of the podium and looked at Qin Feng's back thoughtfully. Who knew what he was thinking? Chapter 607. Dressed in a handsome white suit, Qin Feng stood tall and straight with his hands clasped behind his back. He stood under the sunlight with a smile on his face. His gaze swept across the 200 students below the podium as he wanted everyone to see his handsome and tall side. However, the students always inadvertently forgot about Professor Qiao Feng's appearance. This teacher was simply too ordinary. Students, stand up. Lu Jie, who was sitting in the last row of the class, shouted. The students who were standing in the aisle did not move, but the students who were sitting in their seats stood up in unison. More than 200 people shouted in unison, and their voices were deafening. Good morning, Professor Qiao Feng. This scene shocked the representatives from the Saint Medical Academy who were standing on the podium. The students were so enthusiastic and eager to learn. They couldn't even see such students in their school. Qin Feng nodded in satisfaction and said in a loud and clear voice, Students, please take your seats. The class will now begin. In this class, we will be talking about the Chinese medicine's observation, listening, questioning, and pulse. I heard that all of you have learned from a Chinese medicine teacher before. Have you forgotten about it? As soon as Qin Feng finished speaking, the 200 people below the podium went into an uproar. The observation, listening, questioning, and pulse were the quintessence of Chinese medicine. Although they had learned from Professor Qin Feng before, he was fired after a few days. Therefore, they were very interested in this class and were willing to continue learning. The representatives of the Saint Medical University were puzzled when they heard the words observation, listening, questioning, and pulse. It was obvious that they did not know much about Chinese medicine. Since everyone wants to learn the Chinese medicine's observation, listening, questioning, and pulse, let me test you first. Can you recite the most basic Wang formula? Qin Feng looked at the familiar smiling faces below the podium and asked gently. The Wang formula was a boring and tasteless book of Chinese medicine theory. It was completely based on rote memorization. There were many awkward-sounding words and medical records in the book. It was difficult to read it, let alone memorizing it. To these university students, they would never choose to memorize a book if they were asked to kill someone, let alone a book like the Wang formula, which was equivalent to classical Chinese. However, when Qin Feng started teaching, these students took the initiative to memorize the entire Wang formula because if they did not memorize it, they would not be able to keep up with Professor Qin Feng's pretentious pace in class. In the face of interest, any age difference could become a friend with benefits. No, he could overcome all difficulties and hardships. Lu Jie, who was in the last row, suddenly shouted again, giving Professor Mike and the rest of the team a great shock. Very deep, dig the veins, dig the tendons, and search the bones. Begin. Lu Jie raised his head, and the 200-plus students in the class followed his lead. More than 100 of them were students from the 2 classes of the medical college. It was already impressive that they could memorize the Wang formula, but now, more than 100 students from other faculties could also memorize the Wang formula. Qin Feng was very excited when he saw this. Lu Jie raised his head, and the 200-plus students in the class recited the Wang formula as well. Blockage of meridians, coagulation of qi and blood, accumulation of phlegm, hernia, deficiency of yang qi, excess of yin qi, constriction of the left cun, heartache. More than 200 people chanted in unison, reciting the traditional Chinese medicine Wang formula in a loud and clear voice. Words that were difficult to understand in medical jargon came out of everyone's mouths, leaving the representatives of the Saint Medical Academy at a loss. Professor Mike and Avril listened attentively, but their expressions were different from the others. Other than a trace of surprise and confusion, their expressions quickly turned complicated. No one knew what they were thinking about. The Wang formula was not long. 5 minutes later, everyone had finished reciting it. From the beginning to the end, there was not a single word wrong. There was not even a mistake. Clap, clap. Qin Feng stood on the podium and clapped his hands. I'm proud of all of you. You have brought glory to the medical college and provincial capital university. The students below the podium smiled brightly when they heard the praise. Many of them did not sleep for days just to memorize the Wang formula. Some of them read books even when they were eating and when they were in the bathroom. Some of them even recited the Wang formula when they were having sex with their girlfriends. The process was supposed to be boring and painful, but the moment they received Professor Xiaofeng's praise, everyone was elated. They felt that the pain had turned into sweetness. The expressions of the representatives of the Saint Medical Academy's lecturers changed from disdain and frivolity when they first entered the room to contemplation and surprise. After Willis and the other 4 defeated Shaolei, they had told the lecturers that the provincial capital university's medical college's lecturers were trash. They only read according to the textbooks, and when they put down the textbooks, they were all medical idiots. However, the situation that the lecturers of the Saint Medical Academy saw now was completely different. Qin Feng didn't care about what the representative group thought. It was as if they were air. He didn't even look at them. Qin Feng looked at the students below the stage and asked, which student is willing to offer their body so that the teacher can take a look at their chest? The students below the podium were stunned by Professor Xiaofeng's vulgarity, with their mouths wide open. Soon, Qin Feng realized that he had made a slip of the tongue. He said awkwardly, ahem, which student is willing to stand up? I'll take a look at her physiognomy. The students below the podium and on the podium gasped. Then, they scrambled to raise their hands. Boys, don't raise your hand, Qin Feng said. Suddenly, he lowered half of his hand. Ahem, Miss Hua Yin, please stand up and cooperate with me. Qin Feng immediately recognized Hua Yan's chest among the 200 students and asked her to stand up. Hua Yin stood up. Her tall and sexy body caused a wave of exclamations among the students. Qin Feng waved his hand to signal the students to quiet down. Then, he looked at Hua Yin and stared at her collar for a while. Then, he cleared his throat and said in a serious tone, "This student has phoenix eyes, willow leaf eyebrows, cherry lips, and an oval face. Her skin is as fair as snow, and the bridge of her nose is high and natural. She's indeed one of the prettiest girls in the medical college." The 200 students below the podium were still in a daze after Qin Feng's words. Didn't he say that he taught Chinese medicine? Why did he suddenly teach picking up girls? At least tell us so that we can take notes. Heh, what kind of nonsense is this? Teaching students to pick up girls in the classroom? Is this the Chinese medicine teacher of the medical college? Is this the famous Chinese medicine skill of China? Is this the fucking skill of picking up girls? Peter's mocking voice came from behind Qin Feng. He purposely raised his voice so that many students in the class could hear him. The students of the medical college were furious. They couldn't tolerate people from other universities to insult their medical college, provincial capital university, and Chinese medicine. However, they couldn't refute Peter because what Professor Qiao Feng taught them was indeed the skill of picking up girls. Huh. Which student was talking behind me just now? Qin Feng turned around and looked at the representative group of Saint Medical College with a puzzled expression. Peter was here with Professor Mike and the lecturers to make a scene. He wasn't afraid of Qin Feng. He took a step forward and said, "It's me. What's wrong? Do you think I said something wrong?" Qin Feng looked in Peter's direction. After a while, he said with a smile, "Oh, it's little brother Charcoal. You're so dark that I almost can't see you." Pete was too unscrupulous. Qin Feng's little joke almost made Pete faint from anger. Without waiting for Pete to speak, Qin Feng continued, "I was just joking with everyone just now to lighten the atmosphere in the classroom and raise the students' enthusiasm for learning. Next, we will officially enter into the traditional Chinese medicines Wang, Wan, and Qian. Which student is willing to stand up and let me see you?" Qin Feng suddenly became serious. The students in the class who were laughing also quieted down. After a while, Ma Chao stood up. "Professor, please take a look at me. I'm not feeling well recently." Qin Feng still remembered Ma Chao. He used to be a bully in the class. On the first day Qin Feng came, he taught this guy a lesson. Now, he and Lu Jie were both hardcore fans of Qin Feng. Qin Feng's expression was serious. His eyes fell on Ma Chao's face, from his hair to his chin. He looked at every part of Ma Chao's face very carefully. All the students held their breath. They were afraid that they would affect Professor Qiao Feng's performance. The classroom fell into a dead silence. The sound of a needle dropping could be heard. This student's glabella is dark. His lips are purple and slightly chapped. His eyes are turbid and lifeless, and his complexion is pale. After a moment, Qiao Feng opened his mouth and paused for a moment before continuing, "This student, your main symptom is kidney deficiency." His words caused the whole class to burst into laughter. No one knew whether Professor Qiao Feng was serious in teaching, or he was just joking. Ma Chao's face turned red when he heard Qiao Feng said that he had kidney deficiency. He did not refute and quickly sat back down. His action made the students realize that Professor Qiao Feng was right. The representatives from the Saint Medical Institute were still in shock. They never thought that the Wang formula of Chinese medicine was so powerful. They could diagnose the cause of the disease just by looking at the other's face. "I know. You guys must have discussed this beforehand. In order to win against us, the Saint Medical Institute, you guys have come up with this kind of show. What's the point?" Willis suddenly voiced his doubts. The other 3 male exchange students also came to their senses. Yes, it must be an act. They must have discussed this beforehand. Not only the student representatives voiced their doubts, but the representatives of the lecturers also expressed their doubts. Only Avril and Professor Mike had a complicated expression. They did not have many doubts on their faces. Instead, they were more surprised and happy. "What did you guys say? You guys suspect that I'm acting?" Ma Chao was already a little embarrassed when his kidney deficiency was pointed out. Now, There were people who doubted that his kidney deficiency was fake. Weren't they looking down on him? Humph. You dare to say that you're not acting? You can tell that you're sick just by standing there and letting them look at you? Then it's really easy to be a doctor. Willis maintained a disdainful expression. He was very firm about his speculation. Owen, Peter, and Jack also did not believe that Chinese medicine could be so powerful. They helped Willis to denounce Ma Chao. Instantly, the 200 students in the class were furious. All of them stood up and glared at the representatives of the exchange group from the St. Medical Institute. They knew that Professor Xiaofeng and Ma Chao were definitely not acting. Almost all the students in the class knew that Ma Chao had kidney deficiency. There was no need for him to act. Everyone, quiet down. Qin Feng slammed the table and yelled when he saw that both parties were quarreling fiercely and were about to start a fight. The students in the first class immediately quieted down. However, they still glared at the exchange students with resentful eyes to express their anger. P.S. Today's chapter has been repeated. If you encounter this kind of problem in the future, just refresh the book or uninstall it and add it to your collection. Please forgive the inconvenience. Chapter 608. Professor Xiaofeng, my student's suspicion is possible. I know that Chinese medicine is extensive and profound, but it's our first time in China and we don't know much about Chinese medicine. You were able to tell the cause of his illness just by looking at his physiognomy. It's hard for my students to believe you. I hope you can think of a way to convince my students. Professor Mike spoke. Obviously, he was on the side of Willis's students. Qin Feng's expression never changed. He looked at Professor Mike and said, Professor Mike, you've been selling French fries for so many years. I'm sure you have a lot of ideas. Can you help me think of a way to convince your students? Qin Feng's words almost made Professor Mike vomit blood. The medical college class 1 was in an uproar. Did I hear that right? Professor Xiaofeng said Professor Mike sells French fries? Is that true? It should be true. Look at that old man. He didn't refute it. I guess he sold French fries for a living before he became a doctor. What an inspiring story. We have to learn from Professor Mike. The students in the class were talking at the top of their lungs. Even if Mike didn't want to hear them, their voices would still enter his ears. Professor Mike's eyes were red. He looked at Qin Feng and said, Professor Xiaofeng, why don't you take a look at the 5 exchange students? If you can point out their health problems, you'll be able to convince them. Okay. Professor Mike's suggestion was not bad, so Qin Feng agreed without hesitation. Since Willis was the first one to question Qin Feng walked to Willis and stared at him with his deep black eyes. He carefully observed every detail of Willis's face. He stared for a long time. Qin Feng's face darkened. Ever since he mastered the 5 elements acupuncture technique and 100 Herb Sutra, he had transformed from a Chinese medicine idiot to a Chinese medicine expert. He could point out the health problems of over 200 students just by looking at their physiognomy. However, after staring at Willis's face for a while, Qin Feng felt that something was wrong, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. Willis's complexion was very good. Obviously, he didn't have those common illnesses. Moreover, he didn't have any obvious symptoms. Moreover, Willis was a foreigner. It was Qin Feng's first time reading a foreigner's physiognomy, so he couldn't find the cause. Haha, Professor Xiaofeng? How is it? You've been staring at me for so long without saying anything. Could it be that you've fallen for me? I'm not interested in men. Willis looked at Qin Feng with a smug expression. He didn't forget to mock Qin Feng. As a child of a noble family, Willis's body had been nurtured well since he was young. He didn't do any manual labor, so what problem could he have? Willis was also a medical student, so he was very particular about his diet and habits. He knew that there was nothing wrong with his body, not even the cause of suboptimal health. Moreover, there was an unknown secret in his body. Willis did not believe that Xiaofeng could see through his secret. The atmosphere in the class suddenly became tense. Everyone stared at teacher Xiaofeng. Could it be that he really couldn't tell? Ha ha ha. Professor Xiaofeng, you don't have to watch anymore. I already know that you were acting just now. You knew that Professor Mike would bring us here today to compete with you. So you colluded with these students last night to put on a Hollywood show. But your acting skills are too lousy. Before the show even started, my discerning eyes saw through it. Willis laughed proudly. That's right. Willis laughed proudly. The students in the class wore a cold expression. They were very unhappy with Willis's attitude and words, but they had nothing to say. Just when everyone's heart was in their throats, Qin Feng suddenly laughed. It's not that I can't see the hidden danger in your body, but since you're a guest from afar, I wanted to save some face for you. But since you want me to say it, I have no choice but to comply. Humph. Don't talk nonsense. Tell me, what hidden danger do I have? Willis sneered. Obviously, he didn't believe Xiaofeng's words. Suddenly, Xiaofeng said, You have a weak kidney. His words caused the dead silence in the classroom to burst into an uproar. Everyone burst into laughter. Willis was so angry that his nose became crooked. He glared at Xiaofeng and yelled, Humph, just now you said that student has a weak kidney, and now you're saying that I have a weak kidney? Does everyone in the world have a weak kidney? Or is it that your Chinese medicine can only treat a weak kidney? Isn't this a little too ridiculous? Willis's words made the exchange students laugh as well. Xiaofeng looked at Willis with a deadpan expression and said, You really have a weak kidney. And you have asthma, the kind that's contagious. Boom. Xiaofeng's words were like a time bomb. Moreover, it was a bomb that had already been detonated. The classroom instantly boiled with excitement. Willis has asthma? And it's contagious? Isn't this too fucking scary? The students standing beside Willis were also shocked. Although they didn't really believe Xiaofeng's words, they instinctively took a few steps back and maintained a certain distance from Willis. Willis's expression became colder and colder. He was so angry that the veins on his forehead bulged. How could you believe the nonsense he made up? If I really have asthma, you guys who have been my classmates for 3 years would have been contagious. The students who retreated immediately regained their senses and walked back to Willis's side. They looked at Willis embarrassedly. Xiaofeng, on the other hand, kept staring at Willis's face. He could tell that Willis was in good health. However, everyone had some hidden ailments. As long as these people were angered, their hidden ailments could be better observed. Xiaofeng's previous words were indeed nonsense. His purpose was to provoke Willis and make him angry so that he could observe Willis's condition. Soon, Qin Feng realized that Willis instinctively covered his abdomen with one hand when he was angry. When he opened his mouth to defend himself, Qin Feng also saw the color of his tongue. How dare you slander me? Is it because I exposed your trick that you're slandering me? Are you trying to ruin my reputation? Humph. Provincial Capital University is really a bunch of despicable people. Willis was so angry that his face turned red. He glared at Qin Feng coldly. No one understood Qin Feng's purpose. The exchange students and lecturers' representatives were also condemning Qin Feng. Professor Mike and Avril had been watching Qin Feng's every move, but they still couldn't figure out what Qin Feng was trying to do. Haha, don't be angry, Willis. I was just joking with you. I've long heard that foreigners are very humorous. Looks like that's not the case. Qin Feng smiled. Then, his expression suddenly turned serious. Willis, your body is in good health, but you have a hereditary stomach ailment. Qin Feng's mood swings confused the representatives of the exchange team. They didn't know which part of Qin Feng's words was a joke and which part was the truth. Qin Feng stood tall and straight with his hands behind his back. His expression was serious, and his voice was steady. However, the representatives of the exchange team thought he was joking again. What hereditary stomach ailment? Why don't you say sexual ailment? The lecturers of the exchange team discussed incessantly. They were extremely dissatisfied with Qin Feng. However, Willis's expression was dull. His eyes were lifeless as if he was struck by lightning. The contemptuous and arrogant sneer that hung on Willis's face was long gone. It was replaced by a shocked expression. He did have a hereditary stomach ailment, but only he knew about it. Even his classmates didn't know about it. This kind of hereditary ailment was usually very obscure. As long as he didn't say it out loud, no one would be able to tell. Willis couldn't figure out how Qin Feng found out about it. At the same time, Willis was even more worried. Did Qin Feng see through the other big secret of his body? You're talking nonsense again. Willis didn't want to admit it. He looked at Qin Feng nervously. You know best whether I'm talking nonsense or not. Qin Feng shrugged indifferently. He looked at Qin Feng with a carefree expression. How did you find out? Did you see any other hidden ailments in my body? Willis couldn't take it anymore. He was very curious about this question. Of course it's from the physiognomy. In Chinese medicine, look, listen, question, and feel the pulse. Do you understand? Qin Feng looked at Willis proudly. As for the other ailments, Qin Feng really couldn't see them. Therefore, he avoided answering this question. Willis didn't say anything because he was so shocked that he was speechless. Did Chinese medicine really find out the cause of a family's hereditary ailments just by looking at the physiognomy? Did they install a B-mode ultrasound machine in their eyes? The lecturers and student representatives of the St. Medical Institute saw the drastic change in Willis's expression. Although they didn't hear Willis admit it, they could guess what had happened. No one dared to say anything. Only the muscular and simple-minded Peter glared at Qin Feng confidently. He said playfully, "Don't talk nonsense, kid. How can a person with a mouth full of nonsense like you be a teacher? Is Provincial Capital University's medical school going to close down? Why do you keep inviting some weirdos to make up the numbers?" Ha ha ha. Peter seized the opportunity to mock Qin Feng. Of course, he wouldn't let it go. However, he suddenly stopped after laughing 3 times. He looked at his companions with a strange expression. "Professor Mike, what's wrong with you guys? This teacher is simply spouting nonsense. China's traditional Chinese medicine is a liar. We've already won today's battle before it even started. Hurry up and laugh with me." Peter was still immersed in his own thoughts. He looked at the people around him with an incredulous expression. Professor Mike wanted to kick Peter out of the classroom. He glanced at Willis before turning to Qin Feng and said, "Professor Qiao Feng's Chinese medicine skills are really amazing. You've really broadened our horizons today." "You flatter me. Chinese medicine is broad and profound. I've only learned a little bit about it. I'm sorry for my incompetence just now." Qin Feng and Mike looked calm on the surface and even flattered each other. However, Mike was infuriated. Although Willis didn't admit that he had a hereditary stomach ailment, as long as one wasn't an idiot, he could tell that Professor Qiao Feng was right. Willis couldn't refute Professor Mike's words. In an instant, the classroom was filled with excitement. The students of the medical institute cheered and jumped in joy. "Professor Qiao Feng is so cool. I thought the old man leading the team from the St. Medical Institute would be amazing. SK. Those lecturers and representatives are even worse. They're nothing in front of Professor Qiao Feng." Didn't Professor Qiao Feng say that the old man called Mike used to sell French fries? He switched to medicine halfway through. How amazing can he be? Chapter 609. The representatives of the St. Medical Institute were very angry, but no one said anything. This was because it was not the right time to talk. If they said too much, they would be slapping themselves in the face. They still cared about their reputation. Peter suddenly took a step forward and glared at the students below the stage. "Don't talk nonsense. How many times do I have to tell you before you can remember? Professor Mike doesn't study Western medicine. He sells French fries." In his agitation, Peter reversed his words. Suddenly, a muffled sound came from the podium. Someone suddenly fainted. Professor Mike, what's wrong?" "Oh no, Professor Mike has fainted." Exclamations came from the podium. Professor Mike had fallen to the ground, and his body was still twitching. This scene frightened Peter. He quickly surrounded Professor Mike and shouted his name. "Professor Mike, why did you faint? Wake up, please. Who made you faint?" The medical students had also noticed the situation at this time, and everyone's discussion came to an abrupt halt. More than 200 pairs of eyes fell on the podium. Many people stood up and tiptoed to see, but Professor Mike was blocked by the podium. No one could see the specific situation. "Disperse. Everyone disperse quickly. Maintain air circulation. Don't let Professor Mike suffocate." The lecturers' representatives of the St. Medical Institute were not there to do nothing. In such an emergency situation, they quickly began to take rescue measures. Some people dispersed the onlookers while 2 lecturers squatted on the ground to check on Professor Mike's condition. The scene was in chaos. It was like a battlefield. "How is it? What's wrong with Professor Mike? Should we call an ambulance? The lecturers responsible for dispersing the students looked back at the podium. The two lecturers squatting beside Professor Mike frowned. One of them said, breathing difficulties, weak heartbeat, weak pulse, and weak breath. It's likely a heart attack. Professor Mike was an old man, and most of them had heart problems. If it was a heart attack, he had to be sent to the hospital as soon as possible. Then quickly call an ambulance. Ask that teacher if there's an ambulance in their school. Let them help. Professor Mike had suddenly fainted, and it was very likely a heart attack. The lecturer's representative from the St. Medical Institute ignored the unhappiness between the two sides and looked at Xiao Feng to ask for his help. Xiao Feng had been observing Professor Mike's condition for a long time. Looking at his condition, there was an 80% chance that he had a heart attack. I might be able to cure him. Qin Feng walked to Professor Mike's side. The two lecturers squatting on the ground looked worriedly at Qin Feng and didn't move out of the way. Peter angrily rushed up and blocked Qin Feng's path. Don't even think about getting close to our Professor Mike. I don't believe you're so kind as to save him. What if you want to harm him? When the medical students heard Peter's words, they gritted their teeth in anger. Would teacher Xiao Feng frame Professor Mike at this time? That's possible. Qin Feng didn't care about Peter's attitude. He shrugged and said, do whatever you want. I think Professor Mike can only hold on for 10 minutes. Even if the medical school has an ambulance, it'll take at least 10 minutes to get here and send him to the emergency room. If Professor Mike dies halfway, you won't have fries to eat. Peter glared fiercely at Qin Feng. He clearly didn't like what Qin Feng had just said, but he had to admit that Qin Feng's words made sense. Let him try. Avril suddenly walked over and pulled Peter away. Everyone looked at Avril in surprise and couldn't make up their minds for a moment. Avril glanced at Qin Feng and said calmly, did you guys forget? Yesterday, this teacher used Chinese medicine acupuncture to wake up a female student who suddenly had epilepsy. I believe that he has the confidence to wake Professor Mike up. Qin Feng also looked at Avril. Previously, he suspected that Avril might have been sent by the William family. Now, Qin Feng was more and more suspicious of her because this woman never panicked. When Professor Mike suddenly had a heart attack, the other lecturers and student representatives were all anxious and sweating, but Avril acted as if nothing had happened. Let him try. Maybe he really can. Willis was the second to stand up. Then, Owen and Jack also nodded. This teacher's acupuncture skills are indeed amazing. Professor Mike's situation is getting more and more critical. Let him treat him first. A few of the student representatives spoke up. The lecturers glanced at each other and finally agreed to let Qin Feng treat Professor Mike. Everyone consciously made way. Qin Feng walked to Professor Mike's side and squatted down. First, he scanned Professor Mike's face. Then he placed his hands on the artery of his neck and put his ear near Professor Mike's chest. Qin Feng observed Professor Mike for a long time. He read Professor Mike's face, took his pulse, and even bought a talisman of clairvoyance. However, he still couldn't determine the cause of Professor Mike's illness. Qin Feng felt a little helpless. After he had the 5 elements acupuncture technique and the book of 100 herbs, ordinary causes and all kinds of difficult and miscellaneous diseases were nothing to him. He had never encountered a patient whose cause of illness he couldn't determine. However, today, Qin Feng couldn't determine the cause of the illness twice in a row. Once was with Willis, and the other time was with Professor Mike. Could it be that the foreign body structure was too different from the Chinese body structure? Teacher Xiao Feng, how is Professor Mike? Did he have a heart attack? A few lecturer representatives couldn't wait any longer and asked. Qin Feng didn't investigate the real cause of Professor Mike's fainting, but he was sure that it wasn't a heart attack. It's not a heart attack. Step back a little. I'll try acupuncture. Now, everyone's hopes were pinned on Qin Feng. Qin Feng spoke, so everyone quickly stepped back and gave him space. Qin Feng took out a black cloth from his pocket and spread it on the ground. There was a row of silver needles of different lengths and thicknesses. After the silver needles were arranged, Qin Feng directly shot them out. His movements were extremely fast, so fast that everyone was dazzled. No one could clearly see the specific trajectory of Qin Feng's silver needles. In the blink of an eye, 6 silver needles had landed on several of Professor Mike's main acupuncture points. Whoosh! Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Needless to say, it was the first time they saw Qin Feng perform acupuncture, and some of them screamed in surprise. This was the second time the 5 student representatives had seen Qin Feng's acupuncture skills, but they were still shocked to the core. The 4 male students yelled in their hearts, "How many times did he have to practice to have such a fast hand speed?" Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Qin Feng's expression was solemn, as if he was isolated from the world. He paid no attention to the screams and discussions around him. He first applied the needles with one hand, then raised his other hand. Both of his hands danced and spun in the air. The silver needles fell one by one precisely, light and natural. It was as gentle and harmonious as an ancient beauty embroidering a painting. In the blink of an eye, there were 8 more silver needles on Professor Mike's body. In a breath's time, Professor Mike's body was covered with silver needles. The surrounding people held their breaths, as if they would disturb Qin Feng. Qin Feng wasn't performing acupuncture at all. He was clearly performing a kind of aesthetic and lively art. To be able to combine medical skills with art and sublimate it to such a level, this was definitely the standard of a generation of Chinese medicine masters. The expressions of Willis and the other exchange students changed constantly. Although they didn't know whether Qin Feng's acupuncture was correct or not, Qin Feng's technique and speed were obviously extremely proficient and had reached the point of perfection. Qin Feng continued to apply needles. This was the first time he had applied needles for treatment after obtaining the 5 elements acupuncture technique. Qin Feng continued to apply needles. This was the first time he had applied needles for treatment after obtaining the 5 elements acupuncture technique. This was because Qin Feng still couldn't tell what illness Professor Mike had that caused him to suddenly faint. Therefore, Qin Feng planned to apply needles on several major and important acupoints on Professor Mike's body. This would help to unclog his blood and condense his vital energy. Although Qin Feng's hand speed was fast, it still took him nearly 5 minutes to stop. At this moment, Professor Mike's body was covered with silver needles like a cactus. Everyone had yet to completely recover from the shock. 5 minutes seemed to pass in the blink of an eye. How did Professor Mike turn into a hedgehog in the blink of an eye? The acupuncture did not end there. Qin Feng was still holding the longest and thickest silver needle in his hand. The silver needle was pinched in Qin Feng's hand for a long time. Everyone's gaze fell on this silver needle. From time to time, they would glance at Qin Feng. Some people even suspected that teacher Qiao Feng had fallen asleep from the needles. Qin Feng suddenly made his move without warning. The last silver needle fell, causing the rest of the silver needles to vibrate. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Hundreds of silver needles vibrated at the same time and reached the same frequency. The students sitting in the last row of the classroom could hear the wind whistling from the podium. It was as if a row of wind chimes hung on Professor Mike's body. Winchanter was still there, but the souls of the St. Medical Institute's representatives were scared out of their wits, especially the lecturers' representatives. It was their first time seeing Qin Feng perform acupuncture and the first time seeing the needle manipulation technique. Such a miraculous and even illogical scene made them wonder if Professor Mike was possessed by a ghost. This is amazing. China's acupuncture technique is really amazing. Some lecturers had already recovered from the shock and couldn't help but exclaim in English, "Is this China's Chinese medicine? Look, listen, question, and feel? Acupuncture technique? I want to learn. I want to learn too." No surgery, no medication, and just a few needles can cure a disease? China's cultural heritage of more than 5,000 years is indeed not just for show. The representatives of the exchange group who looked down on Provincial Capital University, the Medical Institute, and even China's Chinese medicine were deeply moved at this moment. They had never seen such miraculous medical techniques. How could this be considered medical techniques? This was simply a miracle. The lecturers even forgot about the fainted Professor Mike. They forgot that the silver needles were for Professor Mike's treatment and not for an acrobatic performance for them to praise. It didn't matter whether Professor Mike woke up or not. The lecturers stared at Qin Feng with scorching eyes. They couldn't wait to acknowledge Qin Feng as their master. Cough, cough. Hundreds of silver needles vibrated for more than a minute. Suddenly, the unconscious Professor Mike coughed. Cough, cough. W, where is this place? W, why am I lying on the ground? When everyone saw that Professor Mike had woken up, they quickly surrounded him. Their faces were filled with surprise and astonishment. You're awake. You're really awake. Professor Mike, are you all right? How do you feel now? Do you need me to send you to the hospital for a checkup? The lecturers and students of the St. Medical Institute looked at Professor Mike worriedly. Professor Mike's memory seemed to be recovering. He looked at everyone for a while with a puzzled expression. Then, he stood up. Did I suddenly faint just now? Which one of you saved me? Professor Mike glanced at the people of the St. Medical Institute. Everyone shook their heads. Avril took a step forward, pointed at Qin Feng, and said, Professor Mike, we were helpless when you suddenly fainted. We were going to send you to the emergency room, but Professor Qiao Feng came to your rescue and saved you with Chinese traditional medicine. Chapter 6:10. Professor Mike's words caused an uproar. The lecturers and student representatives of the St. Medical University looked at him in astonishment. The 200 students of the medical college looked at him in surprise. Professor Mike had praised Qin Feng and Chinese traditional medicine, which indirectly indicated that the St. Medical University had admitted defeat in this medical competition. Professor Mike. The lecturers hurried to Mike's side and looked at him nervously and unwillingly. Mike waved his hand to interrupt them and said calmly, I know what you want to say, but what's the use of saying it? What's the use of refusing to accept it if you're not convinced? Why didn't you wake me up when I fainted? Because you in Western medicine couldn't help me, but Professor Qiao Feng woke me up with his Chinese acupuncture technique. It's obvious who's stronger and who's weaker. There's no need to explain. Professor Mike's words made the lecturer's delegation speechless. Willis's students even lowered their heads. They naturally understood what Professor Mike meant, but they were representing the St. Medical University. They had lost because of the university's reputation, so they were more or less indignant about it. Just like today's medical competition, if Provincial Capital University lost, the students of the medical college would also be unwilling. Haha, as a teacher, Professor Mike, your broad-mindedness is worth learning from. Qin Feng gave Professor Mike a thumbs up. Professor Mike nodded slightly and continued. I brought the St. Medic Institute's team to your university mainly for an exchange of knowledge. In the end, a few days ago, my impatient students changed the nature of the event. We're here to exchange knowledge, not to compete. Even if there's a medical competition, the main purpose is to exchange knowledge and learn from each other. How can you humiliate the other party's culture and medical heritage to show off and improve your university's reputation? Professor Mike seemed to have changed into a different person. Every time he opened his mouth, he would talk about profound and erudite principles, which made the medical college students admire this old man. Qin Feng nodded with a smile. He agreed with Professor Mike's point of view. Professor Mike, you're right. We should exchange knowledge and learn from each other. That's our goal. Haha, great. Professor Qiao Feng, you're right. The students of Provincial Capital University are blessed to have a young and promising lecturer like you. Professor Mike patted Qin Feng's shoulder with a smile. Qin Feng also patted Professor Mike's shoulder, almost knocking the old man over. Hee, I used too much strength again. Professor Mike, please don't be offended. I will continue with the lesson. Okay, we will also continue to listen to your lecture. I really like your Chinese medicine class. Qin Feng and Professor Mike flattered each other, creating a harmonious and happy scene. The students on both sides were moved, and they put down their competitive hearts. They began to focus on learning from each other. At that moment, Principal Wang Zhongguo rushed over with a group of old fogies at the entrance of the medical college. They had guessed that the representative from the St. Medical College would come to get back at them, but they hadn't expected them to come so early. As soon as Wang Zhongguo and the others arrived at the classroom door, they saw the scene of Professor Mike and Qin Feng getting along well. They also heard Professor Mike take the initiative to admit defeat to Qin Feng, which made these old antiques extremely happy. Haha, Professor Qiao Feng is really amazing. I knew he was a dragon among men. He defeated the entire representative from the Saint Medical College by himself. That's really amazing. Wang Zhonghua was grinning from ear to ear. Lu Feng, the dean of the medical college, immediately flattered him. Principal Wang, you have a good eye. I believe that under your leadership, Provincial Capital University will only get better and better. Principal Wang, I saw that Professor Qiaofeng and Professor Mike seem to have reconciled. What they said makes sense. This exchange is mainly about learning. So don't you think we're adding insult to injury? An old professor asked timidly. Wang Zhonghua glared at the old man and said snappily, how is this adding insult to injury? Do you really think Professor Mike is really enlightened and is willing to get along with Professor Qiaofeng? They must have lost the medical competition. If they don't pretend to be magnanimous and see through the world, how can they continue to stay in the exchange for the next few days? Wang Zhonghua's words enlightened the old antiques, and they nodded in realization. Principal Wang, since Professor Mike is so cunning and sinister, why don't we go in and laugh at them now? The old antique asked again. Wang Zhonghua glared at him again. Old Wang, you're really getting old and muddled. Mike, that old guy, is pretending to be magnanimous. If we hit him when he's down, wouldn't that make us look petty? Old Wang was confused by the scolding, so he asked directly, what should we do now, Principal Wang? Wang Zhonghua waved his hand and shouted with a face full of smiles, don't do anything. Let's go. Professor Mike and the others saw Wang Zhonghua and the others coming and leaving. They had strange expressions on their faces, and no one knew what they were thinking. Qin Feng acted as if he did not see anything and continued to lecture. His Chinese medicine class was very popular. The 200 students in the class were so excited that no one was distracted for 2 consecutive classes. The representatives of the St. Quasi-Medical University who stood on the podium were deeply attracted by Qin Feng's humorous and lively teaching method. They were also captivated by the miraculous Chinese medicine of China. The lecturers and students listened attentively. Some even took the initiative to ask Qin Feng questions. Avril and Professor Mike, on the other hand, were absent-minded. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng, for promoting Chinese medicine and spreading its name far and wide. The system has rewarded host Qin Feng with a 5 elements formation. When the class was about to end, the system's notification rang in Qin Feng's mind. Qin Feng was not in a hurry to check the 5 elements formation, so he continued to lecture until the bell rang. These 2 classes were very outstanding. The students of the medical college and the representatives of the St. Quasi-Medical University were fascinated by Qin Feng's lecture. Many of them even begged Qin Feng to continue when the class was over. They had only heard of students looking forward to the end of the class, but this was the first time they heard of students looking forward to the end of the class. Professor Qiaofeng, your class is too exciting. We have learned a lot from it. I have decided to carry out your teaching method in my university after I return. I have learned a lot from this trip to China. Professor Mike came up to Qin Feng and flattered him after the class was over. Hee, Professor Mike, you flatter me. The education in China is still a little backward and rigid. It's not as good as the education in foreign countries, Qin Feng said politely. Professor Mike hastily waved his hand and said, I used to think so too. But after coming to China, I realized that it's not the education in China that's backward. It's our ideas and vision. Professor Qiaofeng's teaching method is definitely not backward. Do you have any more classes for the next few days? When the time comes, you must inform us in advance. I will continue to bring the students and teachers to attend the class. No problem. I will inform you when the time comes. Qin Feng and Professor Mike exchanged some pleasantries. Then, Professor Mike left the classroom with a group of people. Qin Feng's eyes glimmered. No one knew what he was thinking. After seeing Professor Mike and the group of people off, Qin Feng packed his things and rushed back to Yan Wushuang's villa. Provincial Capital University, student dormitory, Professor Mike sat on his bed in his room, lost in thought. Suddenly, someone knocked on his door. Professor Mike came back to his senses and shouted, Who is it? Professor, it's me. You asked me to come here. A man's voice came from outside the door. Professor Mike collected his thoughts and went to open the door. A tall and handsome man walked into the room. He was Qin Feng's transfer student, Prince William. You're here. Take a seat. Professor Mike invited Prince William to take a seat and poured him a glass of water. He acted as if his status was lower than Prince William's. Prince William sat in front of the table and accepted Professor Mike's behavior naturally. "Professor, why did you ask me to come here?" Professor Mike had already closed the door. However, he was afraid that the wall might be eavesdropping. So he lowered his voice and said, "Prince William, have you transferred to Medical College Class 1? "Yes. My father asked me to come here yesterday to assist you in your mission," Prince William said honestly. Professor Mike nodded and continued, "You saw Xiao Feng's class today. What do you think of him?" Prince William was also in Class 1 at that time. He witnessed the series of events in the morning. He pondered for a while and said, "What do you mean, Professor Mike? Aren't we here to look for the divine Chinese medicine practitioner, Li Xingtian, who has been missing for 5 years? What does this have to do with Xiao Feng?" Professor Mike nodded and then shook his head. "Patriarch William did ask us to look for Li Xingtian because Li Xingtian is a person who can use the needle manipulation technique of Chinese medicine. However, in the class today, the teacher called Xiao Feng also used the needle manipulation technique. Furthermore, he has a profound foundation in acupuncture. I'm thinking if we should capture him as well. This way, we can speed up the chief's plan." Prince William's eyes lit up. Previously, he was only thinking about completing the mission given by his father in China, but he had neglected the main purpose of this mission. After Professor Mike's reminder, Prince William was also tempted. Xiao Feng was young, but he had mastered the needle manipulation technique. If he could bring him back to the American base, wouldn't the William family be even more powerful? "Professor Mike, you suddenly fainted in class. Was it an act?" Prince William's eyes lit up. He was suddenly a little afraid of Professor Mike. This old man was too shrewd and scheming. His long-term vision was not something Prince William could compare with. Hee. Prince William is indeed smart. I did pretend to faint to test Xiao Feng's acupuncture skills. Yesterday, those exchange students said that Xiao Feng knew how to use the needle manipulation technique. I didn't go for a medical competition today. I want to test him. You saw the result. That kid is the one we need." It turned out that Professor Mike and Prince William were two of the members sent by the William family for this operation. Professor Mike didn't care whether the St. Medical Institute won or lost the medical competition. Everything he did was for the sake of the mission. Prince William suddenly became excited. He looked at Mike and said, "I just came to class, so I'm not familiar with the other students. I feel that they are also rejecting me. However, I have a good relationship with Professor Xiao Feng. He is also a good person. He even helped me translate and praised me on the first day of school. If you want to rope Xiao Feng back to the base with us, I can try to get close to him and get him to join us voluntarily." Professor Mike looked excited. He immediately slammed the table and made a decision. "Okay, then I'll entrust this matter to Prince William. If you successfully convince Xiao Feng, I believe that the chief will definitely reward you when you return. P.S. A chapter in the middle of the night for those who haven't slept yet. Don't forget to vote for those who still have monthly votes. Also, feel free to send gifts. Hee. Chapter 611. The only official reading site of Hedonist Sovereign is Zhongheng Chinese Network. I hope everyone can subscribe to Zhongheng Chinese Network and support young Master Du. When Qin Feng returned to Yin Wu Shuang's rented villa, Yin Wu Shuang was preparing dinner. Ever since Qin Feng praised Yin Wu Shuang's cooking skills this morning, this lass had taken a liking to cooking. She was busy in the kitchen with a big spatula. "Team leader Yin, you're really good at cooking." I was mesmerized by the aroma of the dishes as soon as I entered the house. Qin Feng came to the entrance of the kitchen and kept sniffing. Yin Wu Shuang was delighted, but she glared at Qin Feng coldly. "What are you sniffing for? Are you a dog? Get out of here and don't disturb me while I'm cooking." Qin Feng fawned on Yin Wu Shuang because he hadn't had his dinner yet. He smiled and said, "Hee, I won't disturb you then, team leader Yin. Call me when you're done, and I'll bring the dishes to you." Qin Feng used to tease Yin Wu Shuang whenever he saw her. Today, he was flattering her with all kinds of flattery, which made Yin Wu Shuang feel uncomfortable. Clanking sounds came from the kitchen. After a while, Yin Wu Shuang came out with 2 plates of delicious food in her hands. "Serve the dishes, Qin Feng." "Hee, coming." Qin Feng eagerly ran to the kitchen. He realized that praising Yin Wu Shuang was very effective. This girl was in a good mood, so she cooked 4 dishes and a soup for dinner. Her life was very comfortable. This was the first time Qin Feng wished that this quest would continue on forever. Qin Feng was very happy. Qin Feng put the dishes on the table. Yin Wu Shuang was sweating from cooking, so she changed into loose white pajamas and came downstairs. "You stinking brat. You ate without waiting for me. Do you have a conscience?" Yin Wu Shuang gritted her teeth when she saw Qin Feng gobbling down the food as soon as she came downstairs. With a big mouthful of rice in his mouth, Qin Feng said vaguely, "Team Leader Yin, your food is so delicious that I couldn't help but eat it. Please don't mind me." Yin Wu Shuang wanted to reprimand Qin Feng, but she was happy after hearing Qin Feng's words. She glared at Qin Feng and didn't say anything. Yin Wu Shuang sat in front of Qin Feng and began to eat. "Eat slowly, kid. No one is going to fight with you." "All right, what did you learn in school today?" Yin Wu Shuang slapped the back of Qin Feng's hand with her chopsticks and shouted angrily, "Hey, I'm talking to you. Are you deaf?" Qin Feng swallowed the mouthful of rice, drank some water, and then said, "Hee hee, I couldn't open my mouth just now, or else the rice would have spilled out. I made a discovery today, and it's a big one." Yin Wu Shuang's eyes lit up. "What did you find? Have you confirmed the identity of the members sent by the William family?" Qin Feng said, "I've confirmed one, but there are still 2 suspicious targets." "Really? Are you sure?" Yin Wu Shuang shouted excitedly. Although Yin Wu Shuang didn't go to class these days, it didn't mean that she didn't go to school. On the contrary, Yin Wu Shuang lurked in the school every day to check on the members of the St. Medical Institute's exchange group. Yin Wu Shuang also saw the battle between Qin Feng and the St. Medical Institute in class this morning. "Prince William. He transferred to our class yesterday, and now he's called Prince Wei." Qin Feng forgot to tell Yin Wu Shuang about this yesterday. "Prince William? Isn't that William Hagen's son? William's elder brother? How did you recognize him?" Yin Wu Shuang's eyes widened. She didn't expect this person to be here. "Prince William tried to assassinate me in the provincial capital, but he didn't succeed. At that time, I was using Qin Feng's appearance. Now that I've changed my identity, he can't recognize me, but I can recognize him." Every time Qin Feng thought of this, he would feel happy. The feeling of being in the dark while the enemy was in the light was really great. Yin Wu Shuang was speechless. She didn't expect Qin Feng to bump into such a good thing. "Who are the 2 suspicious people?" "One is Avril, whom I mentioned yesterday. I'm becoming more and more suspicious of her. You can pay more attention to her whereabouts." "The other one is Professor Mike," Qin Feng said. Yin Wu Shuang didn't find it strange that Avril was suspected, but Professor Mike made her suspicious. Yin Wu Shuang witnessed the whole process of Qin Feng's class today. Professor Mike fainted in class and thanked Qin Feng after he woke up. He expressed his admiration and respect for Chinese medicine. How could this old man be someone sent by the William family? Most of the people from the William family were ability users or specially trained super agents. They shouldn't have fainted naturally. Qin Feng saw Yin Wu Shuang's doubts. Before she could ask, he took the initiative to say, "That old man is very cunning. I suspect he deliberately fainted during class." Yin Wu Shuang's eyes widened. The more she listened, the more confused she became. Why did he deliberately faint? Qin Feng shook his head and said, "I don't understand this. But when I treated Professor Mike, I didn't find any illness in his body. His body is in good condition, and he shouldn't have fainted." Qin Feng suspected that Professor Mike fainted, but he couldn't guess the reason. Could it be that Professor Mike deliberately fainted to test Qin Feng's medical skills? Isn't this a little strange? Could it be that Professor Mike suspected that Qin Feng knew his identity? That was even more impossible. Because Qin Feng had a new identity, not many people in the capital knew Qiao Feng. Qin Feng couldn't guess Professor Mike's intentions, but he suspected Professor Mike. Yin Wu Shuang also suspected Professor Mike when she found out that Professor Mike fainted on purpose. "Okay, then I'll follow these 2 people for the next few days to see what they're up to," Yin Wu Shuang said with hatred. After Qin Feng provided his information, he pouted and looked at Yin Wu Shuang. "Leader Yin, I found some useful clues these 2 days. Why haven't you found anything? Yin Wushuang looked embarrassed. She really didn't find any useful information these 2 days. Moreover, Yin Wushuang was Qin Feng's superior. How could Yin Wushuang not feel embarrassed when her superior wasn't as capable as her subordinate? I already have some clues. I'm just casting a long line to catch a big fish. I'm too lazy to tell you now. Yin Wushuang's eyes darted around. She didn't dare to look Qin Feng in the eye. Qin Feng naturally knew what Yin Wushuang was thinking. He said with a smile, Leader Yin, it's okay if you didn't find any useful clues. How about this? I'll support you from now on. You provide your body and I provide my strength. We'll divide the work and compete to be the dragon sect's sex double. Yin Wushuang's face darkened. She was wondering why Qin Feng became so serious tonight. Yin Wushuang wasn't used to it. She didn't even get to pretend for a while, and this brat showed his foxtail again. Go to hell. Who wants you to support me? Don't think I really didn't find any clues. I caught someone from the William family today. Yin Wushuang raised her head and puffed out her chest. Qin Feng's gaze fell on Yin Wushuang's chest. Yin Wushuang was so angry that she gritted her teeth. Leader Yin, what did you just say? You caught someone from the William family? Are you for real? Qin Feng suddenly snapped out of his daze. This Yin Wushuang was too powerful. Yin Wushuang felt great when she saw Qin Feng's shocked expression. She snorted disdainfully and said, I just caught a person. It's not a big deal. Do you think that I, Yin Wushuang, bought my position in the Dragon's Gate Huang group? Didn't you get it because of the unspoken rules? Qin Feng, do you want to die? Qin Feng and Yin Wushuang messed around for a while. Both of them went to a storeroom in the backyard of the villa. According to Yin Wushuang, the William family member that she caught was locked in this storeroom. Yin Wushuang stepped forward and opened the door. Qin Feng followed behind her and asked curiously, Leader Yin, where did you catch this person? In the secret tunnel that you told me about. Yin Wushuang said proudly, when I was looking for another exit in the tunnel, I happened to see him sneaking around. I immediately knocked him out and dragged him back. Suddenly, Qin Feng had a bad feeling. He hurriedly looked into the storeroom and saw a green-haired brawny man tied up with a rag stuffed in his mouth. His body was riddled with scars. Apparently, he had been tortured by Yin Wushuang. Green hat? Qin Feng cried out in surprise. As expected, he had guessed correctly. Yin Wushuang, that silly girl, had really caught Green Fur. Do you know him? Yin Wushuang looked at Qin Feng cautiously. How did Qin Feng know someone from the William family? Sob, sob, sob. Green Hair's eyes lit up when he saw Qin Feng. He was so excited that he shed tears. After he was caught, Yin Wushuang forced him to confess and beat him until he was almost beaten to death. How could there be such a tough woman in this world? Qin Feng really wanted to give in to Yin Wushuang, this silly girl. He walked up and removed the rag from Green Fur's mouth. Green Fur's blood-curdling screams were heard, Big brother, I never thought of running. I sincerely wanted to help you find another exit. Why don't you believe me? Please don't beat me anymore. Green Hair was a burly man, but now he was crying. He felt that he was too unlucky recently. Since that afternoon, when he wanted to violate Xiao Shi, Green Hair's life seemed to be shrouded in bad luck. He was unlucky from beginning to end. Yin Wushuang seemed to have understood something from their conversation. Could this Green Hair be the person that Qin Feng sent to find the exit? Yin Wushuang felt a little embarrassed. After all, she caught her own man and beat him up. It would be shameful if people knew about this. Ahem. Don't make a fuss. I just wanted to test you. I wanted to see if you would betray me in a critical moment. You've done well and passed the test. You can continue looking for the exit later. Qin Feng felt that Green Hair's life was too miserable. He must have done too many bad things in his previous life. After he found an excuse to fool Green Hair, Qin Feng pulled Yin Wushuang out of the storeroom. Qin Feng, is that the person you found? Yin Wushuang asked embarrassedly. Qin Feng rolled his eyes and said, Team Leader Yin, I think you should reconsider my previous suggestion. Next time, you'll use your body and I'll use my strength. Yin Wushuang glared at Qin Feng angrily, but she couldn't lose her temper. After all, she had caught the wrong person this time. All right, let that guy go later, and let him continue looking for the exit of the tunnel. I'm going back to sleep. I'm really impressed by you women. Qin Feng glared at Yin Wushuang's chest and went back to his room. Ever since he left Acropolis City, Qin Feng had turned off his cell phone to prevent his identity from being exposed. At this moment, he lay on the big bed and turned on his cell phone. Buzz, buzz, buzz. As soon as he turned on his cell phone, it started to vibrate continuously. It vibrated for more than a minute before it stopped. Qin Feng looked at the missed calls and messages. There were messages from his women, as well as messages from Yunze and Longhair's brothers. The ones who called and messaged Qin Feng the most were Zhao Lingxian and Su Qiuyu. In total, the two of them had made over 1,000 missed calls, causing Qin Feng to be dumbfounded. Qin Feng, you finally turned on your cell phone. Qin Feng called Zhao Lingxian first. Soon, Lingxian's angry voice came from the other side of the phone. Lingxian, I've changed my identity. I need to keep a low profile for a few days, so I didn't turn on my cell phone. Qin Feng gave a simple explanation, then asked, did something happen on your side? P.S. To those who complained about repetitive chapters, wrong chapters, and messy chapters, sorry, you're reading a pirated version. When the pirated version stole Young Master Du's article, the system made a mistake, and Young Master Du couldn't change it. Chapter 612. Hedonist Sovereign Book Group 431362209. Welcome. Zhao Lingxian knew Qin Feng was in a difficult situation, so the anger in her heart dissipated. Instead, she worried about Qin Feng. Qin Feng, are you doing well in the capital? No one bullied you, right? Qin Feng's heart surged with warmth. He smiled and said, I'm fine, don't worry about me. I'm the hedonist young master of Acropolis City. Even in the capital, everyone has to make way for me. Qin Feng purposely said relaxed words so that Zhao Lingxian wouldn't worry. Zhao Lingxian was amused. She laughed tenderly and said, you're so narcissistic. I really can't be too nice to you. Seeing that the atmosphere became harmonious and relaxed, Qin Feng continued to ask, Lingxian, you called me so many times. What happened? The other side of the phone was silent for a while. Then, Zhao Lingxian said in a downcast voice, Qin Feng, because of what happened last time, Liang Yu has been bothering me frequently. He even said he'll come to Acropolis City to see me soon. Zhao Lingxian's voice trailed off. She was clearly afraid Qin Feng would be angry. Qin Feng was indeed angry, but he wasn't angry at Zhao Lingxian. Instead, he was angry at Liang Yu. Liang Yu was bothering Zhao Lingxian because she thought Qin Feng was dead, so she asked Liang Yu to help her get Qing Lang's phone number. This matter was a big blunder. After Qin Feng returned to the capital, he was busy investigating the William family, so he really neglected this matter. Lingxian, don't worry about this. I'll personally go to the Liang family in a bit and beat that reckless guy to death, Qin Feng said firmly. Zhao Lingxian immediately became worried. Don't do anything rash. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have told you about this. Don't worry, I'm a stage 1 inner martial artist now. I'll protect myself. Plus, I have the phone group to protect me in Acropolis City. Acropolis City belongs to the Qin family now. I'm sure even if Liang Yu comes, he won't dare to do anything too excessive to me. Zhao Lingxian was still afraid that Liang Yu would come looking for her. After all, the Liang family was a big family in the capital. Moreover, even if Liang Yu's strength couldn't compare to Liang Zhenwei's, he was definitely more powerful than a stage 1 inner martial artist. However, in order to prevent Qin Feng from acting foolishly, Zhao Lingxian could only try to persuade him first. Qin Feng understood what Zhao Lingxian was thinking, but once he made a decision, no one could change his mind. Just like how Yu Wenxiang of the Jincheng City's Yu family had caused Lin Bei to fall into a vegetative state, Qin Feng had single-handedly destroyed the Yu family. Qin Feng could endure being taken advantage of, but he could not allow others to bully his family, women, and friends. By the way, what happened in Yun province after I left? Why did the Qin family's name unite the 4 cities of the Yun province? In order to not worry Zhao Lingxian, Qin Feng didn't mention the matter of visiting the Liang family. I heard it was your housekeeper, Uncle Fu. He's so powerful. He's actually the Southeast Tiger Yuan Fu, one of the five tigers of China 20 years ago. Now that he has returned to the ranks of the five tigers, no one in Yun province dares to provoke the Qin clan anymore. Zhao Lingxian had heard this from others. Now, this news was spreading throughout the four cities of Yun province. The large and small families all added a strict family rule. No one could provoke the Qin family, or else they would be expelled from the family. Qin Feng had discovered Yuan Fu's true identity during the battle at Devil Beast Mountain, but he didn't think he would return to the ranks of the five tigers. Soon, Qin Feng understood. Uncle Fu must have had his reasons for retiring from the world 20 years ago. After enduring for 20 years, he reappeared, so there could only be one reason. To help Acropolis City's Qin clan stabilize its foundation, Qin Feng was incredibly moved. Uncle Fu had taken care of Qin Feng since he was young. It could be said that the reason why Qin Feng was able to survive in Acropolis City was all because of Uncle Fu's secret protection. Qin Feng treated Uncle Fu like his own uncle. After finding out that Uncle Fu was willing to return to the world and return to the five tigers of China for him and his father, Qin Feng was filled with admiration. After talking business with Zhao Lingxian, Qin Feng said a lot of words of love. The two of them had sex not long ago, so they both missed each other and wished that the other was by their side. After talking for a long time, Qin Feng was a bit reluctant to hang up. He then called Su Qiuyu. Qin Feng? Is that you? Su Qiuyu's voice was trembling and a bit hoarse. It was as if she was crying. Qiuyu, of course it's me. What's wrong? Qin Feng asked worriedly. After a few seconds of silence, Su Qiuyu's sobbing voice came through the phone. Wah. Qin Feng, my sister and grandpa thought you died. Qin Feng suddenly understood. During the battle at Devil Beast Mountain, he deliberately spread the news of his death. At that time, it caused Lin Bei, Bai Qing, and Lu Wenjing to misunderstand. Later, Qin Feng resolved the misunderstanding with the women in Acropolis City, but he didn't have time to tell the Su sisters of Sky City. Qiuyu, I purposely put on a show in the video you saw. The Qin Feng who died was only a clone of mine. I'm currently carrying out a secret mission in the provincial capital, so I needed to change my identity and fake my death. Qin Feng felt a bit guilty as he explained to Su Qiuyu. Recently, Qin Feng had been too busy. He had to complete all sorts of quests, rebuild his family, and fight against all sorts of enemies. He was so busy that he felt dizzy. As a result, Qin Feng had neglected the beautiful Su sisters. I see. It's good to know that you're fine. I can rest assured now. Su Qiuyu didn't blame Qin Feng. She was a smart and sensible woman. Qin Feng felt that it was a great fortune to have the Su sisters. Qiuyu, how's the medical company? Qin Feng got back to the main topic. He wanted to suppress the Liang family in the provincial capital. He wanted to destroy the Liang family in the business world first, and then swallow up the Liang family's power. Su Qiuyu's emotions had calmed down, and she became a capable and steady woman again. The gold sore medicine and whitening powder formulas you left last time have been registered as trademarks and passed the inspection of the State Food and Drug Administration. Now, these two formulas can be mass-produced at any time and sold in the market. I've been contacting you and waiting for you to tell me. Su Qiuyu's ability was outstanding. Qin Feng had only been back in Yun province for half a month, but Su Qiuyu had already settled the new formulas. Okay, then start the production of the gold sore medicine and whitening powder immediately. You can look for me if you have any financial problems, said Qin Feng. The Su family still has funds. If it's really not enough, I'll look for you. Qin Feng, take good care of yourself in the provincial capital. Remember to visit the Su family when you have time. Grandpa and Xia Tian miss you very much. Su Qiuyu's pretty face blushed after she finished speaking. How could she not miss Qin Feng? However, she was too embarrassed to say it out loud. Qin Feng, of course, understood Su Qiuyu, so he agreed with a smile. Su Qiuyu still had something in her heart that she didn't tell Qin Feng. After thinking for a while, she decided not to tell Qin Feng so that he wouldn't worry. When Su Qiuyu found out that Qin Feng was killed by Green Wolf, she didn't believe it at first. However, after a few days, the Su sisters and the elder had no choice but to accept it. The three of them were heartbroken and decided to avenge Qin Feng. Through the video, Su Qiuyu knew that Green Wolf was very powerful. Su Qiuyu was prepared to sell the Su family's business and spend a lot of money to hire the Golden Assassin Crew, a top international assassin organization, to assassinate Green Wolf. Both parties were in the final stage of their negotiation when Su Qiuyu suddenly received a call from Qin Feng. She learned that Qin Feng was still alive. After hanging up Su Qiuyu's call, Qin Feng hastily called the other women. He was afraid that these women would also think that he was dead and think of avenging him. Lu Bingbing, Su Xiatian, Lu Xiaojia, and even Li Yuchan called him. Suddenly, Qin Feng thought of Han Ying, but he couldn't call her. Then, he thought of Su Ruoro and Yun Xiao. He wanted to call them, but he couldn't reach them. Qin Feng wanted to call Rao Sherman, but he decided not to. Rao Sherman was getting more and more popular, so she must be very busy. Qin Feng hadn't contacted her for a long time. Did Rao Sherman still remember him? 8 years ago, they met by chance at the Lotus Lake. Could that pure and innocent relationship last until now? Qin Feng was a little depressed. He realized that his strength was still too low. He wanted to protect his family, women, and friends, but he felt powerless. Qin Feng swore in his heart that he must break through as soon as possible and become more powerful. Qin Feng cast aside his messy thoughts and opened the Martial Artist Alliance's personal cell phone. He remembered that when he was in Acropolis City, he received a group mission from Hua Yin. He was to search for treasures in an ancient martial ruins. This mission piqued Qin Feng's interest. He wanted to forge a cosmic flying sword, but he lacked a lot of materials. Perhaps he could find some treasures in the ancient martial ruins. Ding, ding. As soon as he unlocked the Martial Art Alliance's cell phone, his mind went wild. Qin Feng looked at it and saw that most of the messages were from the Martial Art Alliance. There were also messages from Hua Yin, Xiao 11th Lang, and Lu Jie. Green Wolf, I've seen through you. We walk different paths from now on. Hua Yin added a row of angry and knife-like emojis at the bottom of the message. Qin Feng was confused by her words. Boss, where have you been? Come back quickly. Everyone is looking forward to seeing you. Boss, can't you give me a fuck? The principal of Provincial Capital University has withdrawn your expulsion document and invited you back to teach. Can you say something? Lu Jie's message was to persuade Qin Feng to return to school. Then, there was a private message from Xiao 11th Lang. Qin Feng had put on a good show of killing himself in Devil Beast Mountain. One reason was to deceive others and change his identity. The second reason was to complete the mission given by Xiao 11th Lang, gain his trust, and reveal his true identity. Qin Feng clicked on Xiao 11th Lang's message with a little excitement. Brother Green Wolf, I've received news of Qin Feng's death. Thank you for helping me complete this mission. I've already transferred the reward points to your account. The physical reward is in the Martial Artist Alliance's warehouse. Please check it. Xiao 11th Lang's message mainly talked about the mission and did not mention anything else. Qin Feng frowned slightly and replied to Xiao 11th Lang. Brother Xiao, you're too kind. I've been paid to do my job. Brother Xiao is generous. Green Wolf really wants to be friends with you. I wonder if you have time to come out for a drink? Qin Feng wanted to ask Xiao 11th Lang out so that he could reveal his true identity. 5 minutes after the message was sent, there was still no reply. Xiao 11th Lang's profile picture was gray. Qin Feng did not know if he was really offline or if he was invisible. Bored, Qin Feng clicked on the Ancient Martial Ruins Exploration mission. According to the mission time, the mission should have started by now. However, Qin Feng discovered that the mission was still in the Martial Artist Alliance's push list. Chapter 613. China was a big country, and there were many people who practiced ancient martial arts. However, there were not many martial artists who could reach stage 4 inner chi, and the number of martial artists who could reach stage 6 inner chi was less than half of them. Now that the Ancient Martial Ruin Exploration mission had changed its requirements, it required martial artists who were at least stage 6 inner chi to join. No wonder the mission hadn't started yet. The organizer wanted to recruit 10 people to form a team, but only 6 people had signed up. Qin Feng had signed up for this mission as a stage 4 inner chi disciple, but now that the requirements had changed, Qin Feng's registration was automatically cancelled by the Martial Art Alliance's client system. However, Qin Feng could see the information of the 6 people who had signed up, and Billowy Lady's name was among them. Hua Yin is participating too? She's only a stage 4 demon cultivator. How did she sign up? Qin Feng was surprised when he saw Hua Yan's member name. However, Qin Feng quickly understood. Before he left the provincial capital, Hua Yin refined a blood chi pill for Qin Feng, and the other half of the ingredients for the blood chi pill was given to Hua Yin as a reward. She must have refined another blood chi pill for him and consumed it to break through. However, Hua Yin had broken through from a stage 4 demon cultivator to a stage 6 demon cultivator in just half a month. Wasn't this speed a little too fast? Since Hua Yin had signed up, Qin Feng signed up as well. Qin Feng happened to be at stage 6 inner chi, so he met the requirements to sign up. After signing up, Qin Feng didn't pay attention to the mission because the mission didn't have a specific starting time. The organizer would contact the applicants when there were 10 people, so Qin Feng didn't need to pay attention to it anymore. After closing the mission list, Qin Feng realized that Xiao 11 Lang still hadn't replied to his message. Qin Feng didn't wait any longer. He changed his SIM card and inserted the Dragon Gate internal card. Then, he turned off his Martial Art Alliance phone and put it back in his pocket. Taking advantage of the night, he rushed to the provincial capital's Liang family. In the lobby of a mansion in the provincial capital's Liang family, Liang Yu sat on the sofa anxiously in his white pajamas. Beside him sat a man in his 50s. The man was dressed in black silk pajamas and looked noble and decent. His face was calm and steady, and there was a hint of dignity between his brows. The man was Liang Yu's father, the Liang family's eldest brother. "Dad, can you say something? This is a great opportunity. We have to grasp it." Liang Yu looked at his father anxiously, as though he was waiting for his father to nod. Liang Shuiping sipped his tea unhurriedly. His gaze remained fixed on the news on the television. Without even looking at Liang Yu, he said, "Did you forget what that strange old man from the Dongfang family said?" At the mention of this, Liang Yu immediately jumped up in anger and cursed, "That big idiot from the Dongfang family. The Liang family has never had any dealings with him. How does the woman I fancy have anything to do with him? Isn't the Dongfang family too lenient? Isn't it just China's Crimson Dragon? What's so great about it?" "Pa." Liang Shuiping slammed his palm on the coffee table, instantly shattering it. Liang Yu was so frightened that he immediately shut his mouth. He lowered his head and stood to the side like a child who had done something wrong. "Vile spawn, how can you speak such words so casually? If that strange old man hears about this, you'll be waiting to collect your corpse." Liang Yu's imposing manner was obviously much weaker, but he still grumbled unhappily, "Dad, don't be angry. I wouldn't dare to speak such words outside. I'm only grumbling because we're in the family." "Humph. You think you're safe in the Liang family's villa? Those uncles of yours are always watching our every move. They can't wait for us to make some mistakes." Liang Shuiping snorted angrily. This was an important moment for the Liang family. The Liang family's old man, Liang Qitian, was getting old and was preparing to give up the position of family head. There was a rule in the Liang family that the position of family head was passed down through the generations. This meant that Liang Yu's father's generation didn't have the right to fight for the position of family head, so this good thing fell to Liang Yu's generation. In Liang Yu's generation, aside from Liang Yu, he had 2 cousins. Everyone was itching for the position of family head, and the open and veiled struggle was very intense. Liang Yu understood his father's meaning and immediately showed an attitude of admitting his mistake. "Dad, I know I was wrong. I won't say these things again." Liang Shuiping nodded. He suddenly looked at Liang Yu and asked, "You just said that the girl from Acropolis City's Zhao family took the initiative to be friends with you and wanted to marry you? Is that true?" Liang Yu instantly became excited and nodded repeatedly. "Yes, of course it's true. Dad, before, the Dongfang family stopped me from being friends with Zhao Lingxian because they didn't want me to force her. But it's different now. The girl was attracted by my dissolute talent and took the initiative to be friends with me. The Dongfang family has no reason to interfere with this, right? If they interfere again, it's really inexcusable." Liang Shuiping analyzed the pros and cons of the matter. He actually agreed with his son's words. If the girl from the Zhao family took the initiative to be friends with Liang Yu, then Dongfeng Mingwang had no reason to stop them. Seeing his father's attitude soften, Liang Yu suppressed the excitement in his heart and continued to say, "Dad, you just said that this is a special time. Second uncle and third uncle are all eyeing the position of family head. If we keep biding our time, we'll fall into a disadvantageous situation. Although Acropolis City is a small place, the Zhao family's medical corporation isn't small. Even the capital's major medical stores are selling the Zhao family's main products. If I can marry Zhao Lingxian, wouldn't I have a strong backing for my fight for the position of family head? When Grandpa is happy, the position of family head will naturally fall onto my head. This is a good thing that kills two birds with one stone." Liang Shuiping naturally knew this was a good thing. He didn't express his opinion before because he was worried about the Dongfeng family's attitude and because he wasn't sure if his son's words were true or false. Now that he saw his son's solemn and confident expression, it seemed that he wasn't lying. Even Liang Shuiping was moved by this marriage. "Dad, why don't you say something? If you agree, I'll go to Acropolis City tomorrow to give the betrothal gifts." Once Liang Yu thought of Zhao Lingxian's beauty and wonderful figure, he couldn't help but urge his father. Liang Shuiping finally nodded. Just as he was about to speak, a cold voice suddenly came from outside the door. "No need to ask. I'll make the decision for your old man. You can't have an affair with a woman from the Zhao family. At the same time, you can't find a woman from any other family. To put it simply, you'll be single for the rest of your life and be a single dog for the rest of your life." The voice came so suddenly that Liang Yu and Liang Shuiping jumped in fright. The two of them immediately looked towards the entrance of the villa. A strange person wearing strange clothes and a frightening wolf mask stood at the door. Liang Yu was so scared that he almost fell on his butt. "You? Who the fuck are you? You dare to trespass on my Liang family's sacred land? You're looking to die, brat." Liang Yu was so scared that his heart raced, but he quickly calmed down. This was the Liang family's base of operations, and there were skilled guards all around. How could Liang Yu be afraid of this wolf-masked strange person in front of him? What did this brat just say? "You won't let me find a woman and want me to be a single dog for the rest of my life? Is there something wrong with your fucking brain?" Qin Feng ignored Liang Yu and walked into the living room, minding his own business. He sat down on the sofa and leisurely crossed his legs as if he was in his own home. Liang Yu was so angry that he wanted to die. He was about to go out and call for the guards. After Liang Shuiping saw Qin Feng, his expression changed again. Finally, his entire face was as pale as a sheet. He jumped up with a whoosh and didn't dare to sit with Qin Feng. As a hedonistic young master in the capital, Liang Yu idled around all day, picking up girls and squandering. He didn't care about China's martial arts world and didn't know what Green Wolf looked like. However, Liang Shuiping knew Green Wolf. The entire China's martial arts world knew Green Wolf. The video of Green Wolf's battle at Devil Beast Mountain a few days ago was too terrifying. He defeated the Southeast Tiger Yuan Fu and the capital's Tiger Qi Wanjun all by himself. He was a mysterious man, a godlike man. He was the man of One Piece. At this moment, this strange man was sitting on the sofa in his home. Liang Shuiping didn't even know when he came in. The Liang family's villa was surrounded by expert guards, but Green Wolf came in without anyone noticing. He didn't even cause a commotion. Senior Green Wolf, why are you here?" Liang Shuiping was a stage 5 inner chi expert, but he couldn't see through Qin Feng's strength. This made Liang Shuiping even more fearful of Qin Feng. He didn't dare to be careless. Liang Yu walked to the door and was stunned by his father's actions and words. He looked at the strange man sitting on the sofa with an expression of dementia. "Him? This is Green Wolf? Stinking brat, what are you standing there for? Come and greet Senior Green Wolf." Liang Shuiping angrily yelled at his son. Liang Yu still hadn't regained his senses. He walked to Qin Feng's side in a daze and asked after a long time, "Dad, why did you call him Senior? I know this brat. He dared to threaten me on the Martial Art Alliance app. I was going to find time to settle the score with him, but I didn't expect this brat to deliver himself to me. God is really on my side." Slap. Liang Yu was sent flying by Liang Shuiping's slap before he could finish. Liang Shuiping was so angry that he wanted to curse. God is on your side. Liang Yu fell to the ground, and his face was swollen. He covered his face and looked at his father in astonishment. He still couldn't figure out what was going on. Dad, why did you hit me? Do you have Alzheimer's disease? Liang Shuiping's anger, which had just subsided, suddenly flared up again. He kicked Liang Yu and sent him flying. Liang Yu was beaten so badly by his father that he didn't even have a chance to retort. Liang Shuiping was also sullen. He knew that if he didn't teach his son a lesson, his son would be gone when Green Wolf attacked. Xiaoliang, that's enough. He's just a wild dog. Why do you have to lower yourself to his level? Qin Feng suddenly said when he saw this. Although Liang Shuiping couldn't see Qin Feng's face, he could tell from his voice that Qin Feng was about the same age as his son. Liang Shuiping was quite sullen to be called Xiaoliang by a junior. This person even called his son a wild dog? Then wouldn't he be an old wild dog? Liang Shuiping was very angry, but he didn't dare to show it. He had seen the video of Green Wolf abusing Capital's Tiger Chi Bo. This fellow was vicious and merciless. He killed without batting an eye. Liang Shuiping didn't even dare to call for the Liang family's door to come in. He was afraid that if he made a sound, he would be killed by Green Wolf in the next second. Even though he was called an old wild dog, Liang Shuiping still had to smile and curry favor with Green Wolf. Senior Green Wolf, my rascal is ignorant and doesn't know about your great achievements. You are a magnanimous person, so don't lower yourself to his level. That's right. Why did Senior visit so late at night? Is there anything I can do for you? Chapter 6:14. Liang Shuiping was so nervous that his entire body trembled. Qin Feng, on the other hand, leisurely crossed his legs as if he was on vacation. HP//772E6F742E6F% 6 Qin Feng said he would visit the Liang family tonight, so he would definitely come. Moreover, Qin Feng had used Green Wolf's identity to come here. He thought that everyone in the Chinese martial arts world would know about Green Wolf's battle at Devil Beast Mountain. Qin Feng also wanted to know what position Green Wolf held in the eyes of these large families. Seeing Liang Shuiping's reaction, Qin Feng finally knew how powerful his reputation was. Ahem. Xiaoliang, don't be nervous. I just came out for a walk at night and happened to come to your Liang family's side courtyard. Xiaoliang, you won't not welcome me, right? Liang Shuiping's entire body trembled violently. He hurriedly smiled and said, Haha, why would I? Why would I? Qin Feng nodded his head in satisfaction and continued, I didn't come here for anything important. I just wanted to tell you and your son that I can't stand your son. He's not allowed to interact with any women in the future. If I find out, think about the consequences. Qin Feng let out a cold laugh. His laugh seemed to float out from the depths of hell, and it gave Liang Yu and Liang Shuiping goosebumps. Liang Yu was lying on the ground on the side. He was in so much pain that he couldn't get up. Although he didn't know what Green Wolf represented, judging from his father's fear of Green Wolf, Liang Yu knew that he had kicked a nail this time. Green Wolf was obviously a big shot that couldn't be provoked. Liang Shuiping didn't think Green Wolf would be so ruthless. He directly forbade his son from touching women? Why did all the experts in the Chinese martial arts world have this kind of hobby? Did they like to restrict people from making friends? Rumble. Seeing that Liang Shuiping didn't speak, Qin Feng waved his hand. An intense fireball instantly fell to the ground and burned the shattered glass into ashes. Liang Shuiping and Liang Yu witnessed everything that happened in front of them. They even felt like they were dreaming. The destructive fire came ferociously and left quickly. If it weren't for the shattered glass on the coffee table disappearing, the two of them would have thought it was a dream. Xiaoliang, I'm very busy. What do you mean by not speaking? You don't agree? Qin Feng's cold voice came just as the destructive fire disappeared. Liang Shuiping and Liang Yu broke out in cold sweat, as if they had just been drenched in a heavy rain. Agree. I, of course agree. Senior Green Wolf is right. My son won't look for a woman in the future. Liang Shuiping stammered. He didn't even know how Green Wolf managed to summon a fireball. Could it be that Green Wolf was a demonic cultivator? After Liang Shuiping expressed his stance, he hurriedly looked at Liang Yu, who had fallen to the side in a daze, and roared, You stinking brat! Quick, tell me you're willing." Liang Yu had long been scared out of his wits. He only snapped out of his daze after being yelled at by his father. He never expected Green Wolf to be so powerful. How did that fireball come out? Was this a magic trick? He even took away the shards of glass on the floor? "I am willing." With no time to think, Liang Yu quickly agreed. Although he was extremely unwilling, Liang Yu had no other choice. He knew that if he didn't agree, he would be burned to ashes like those glass shards in the next second. Liang Shuiping and Liang Yu echoed each other. Qin Feng felt like he was at a wedding. "Are you willing?" "I'm willing." Qin Feng shook his head and came back to his senses. He nodded in satisfaction. He came here to establish his might and didn't plan on wiping out the Liang family. After all, this was the capital, and the Liang family was one of the 5 small families in the capital. If such a large family was wiped out in one night, he was sure the government would come out to investigate. Perhaps the Dragon Gate would come out to investigate. If that happened, Qin Feng would be in trouble again. Not bad, not bad. I'm very satisfied with your choices. However, I hope you weren't just talking tonight. Otherwise, don't even think about talking in the future. After Qin Feng received a satisfactory answer, he suddenly stood up. His every move could scare Liang Shuiping and Liang Yu half to death. "No, that won't happen. My son will definitely abide by Senior Green Wolf's teachings and won't come into contact with women again," Liang Shuiping said shakily. Liang Shuiping said with a trembling voice. Then, he glared at Liang Yu in the corner. Before Liang Shuiping could speak, Liang Yu also hurriedly declared, "Why, Senior Green Wolf, don't worry. I won't touch women. I will never touch women again." When he said this, Liang Yu's heart was bleeding. Senior Green Wolf, do you have any other orders? Just say it. We'll definitely do it." Seeing that his son also declared his stance, Liang Shuiping immediately started to curry favor with Green Wolf. He was deeply afraid that Green Wolf would suddenly throw that terrifying fireball. "If there's nothing else and it's getting late, I'm leaving." When Qin Feng's voice fell, he immediately bought an invisibility talisman from the system and instantly disappeared into the night. Liang Shuiping and Liang Yu stared dumbfoundedly at the empty room. The night wind blew on their faces, telling them that this wasn't a dream. However, how did Green Wolf, who was standing in the room a second ago, suddenly disappear? After a few minutes, "Dad, did that person leave?" Liang Yu asked carefully. Liang Shuiping was also sweating in his heart. He softly yelled around the room, Senior Green Wolf, are you still there?" After yelling a few times and not hearing a reply, Liang Shuiping's body went limp and he directly sat on the ground. The pressure that Green Wolf gave him was truly too great. "Dad, who the hell was that guy? He actually dared to break into our Liang family's villa in the middle of the night. Why didn't you call the guards to kill him?" Knowing that Green Wolf had left, Liang Yu became arrogant again. He crawled to his father's side and yelled curses. Liang Shuiping's heart, which had just calmed down, instantly jumped to his throat. He slapped Liang Yu's face and wanted nothing more than to slap this evil creature to death. "You bastard, hurry and shut up. Look at what you've done. Of all the people you could provoke, you had to provoke Green Wolf. You're going to fucking kill me." Liang Yu felt dizzy from the slap, but he didn't dare to complain. He carefully asked, "Dad, who the hell is Green Wolf? Why are you so afraid of him? Even if his skills are a bit strange, our Liang family has many experts. Can't we defeat him alone?" "You brat, what do you know? A few days ago, Green Wolf crippled Qi Wanjuan's power on Devil Beast Mountain and defeated Southeast Tiger Yuan Fu. Do you think any expert in the Liang family can defeat him? Why don't you go?" Even if Liang Yu didn't pay attention to the Chinese martial arts world, he had heard of the famous seniors of the 9 Dragons and 5 Tigers. Knowing that Green Wolf crippled Jinghu, Liang Yu no longer felt angry. A layer of cold sweat appeared on his forehead, and all that was left was fear. "Dad, what should we do? We won't suddenly die as soon as we leave the house, right? That won't happen. An expert like Green Wolf doesn't care about our little lives. If he really wanted to kill someone, he would have done it already. Didn't you see that he came and went without a trace? Even if he killed us, I'm afraid the Liang family's guards wouldn't know. Liang Shuiping sighed and continued. How did you offend Green Wolf? Hurry and tell me. Liang Yu knew the severity of the situation and didn't dare to hide anything. He told Liang Shuiping about how he helped Zhao Ling Xian get Green Wolf's phone number and how he argued with Green Wolf on the Martial Arts Alliance app. Liang Shuiping was so angry that he slapped Liang Shuiping a few more times. You evil creature, I'm going to die from anger because of you. Don't touch Zhao Ling Xian in the future, and don't tell anyone in the family about this. If the elder finds out that you offended Green Wolf, forget about being the head of the family. The elder might remove your name from the family tomorrow. Liang Yu didn't think the situation would be so serious. He nodded in fright and added, Dad, and can I still touch women other than Zhao Ling Xian? Liang Shuiping almost slapped his son again. He huffed and yelled, Only if you want to die. Ever since Qin Feng defeated Professor Mike, Teacher Qiao Feng's name spread throughout the university. In the school forum, the topic index had already surpassed Teacher Qin Feng. In the next few days of the exchange, the students from both sides didn't purposely compete in medicine or attack each other's culture and medical skills. The exchange between the two schools returned to its original nature and began to focus on the exchange of knowledge. Now, walking on the campus of the university, everyone was talking about Qiao Feng. There were Qiao Feng's die-hard fans and a group of love-struck, brain-dead suitors everywhere. Aside from Qiao Feng, there was another hot topic these days. The Pretty Girl Group was going to hold a concert at the university. Have you guys heard? The Pretty Girl Group is going to hold a concert at the university tomorrow. I heard about it last night and was so excited that I couldn't sleep well last night. A boy wearing thick glasses clenched his fists in excitement and made a spoiled expression like a little girl throwing a tantrum. A few girls passing by saw this scene and almost vomited. They hurriedly sped up their steps and walked away. I heard. I was so excited last night that I couldn't sleep. I like Rao Sherman the most. She's cold and aloof. Only a woman like her is worthy of me. After the passing girls walked away, the boy's companion also clenched his fists and jumped up. His coarse, acne-filled face was red. I like Zhang Kukamore. She's lively, cute, big-breasted, and brainless. I can still accept this kind of woman. Another boy's companion made a ruckus and looked like he was in heat. Xiao Lei was in low spirits recently. He walked past the three boys with a gloomy face. When he saw their expressions and actions, he staggered and almost fell. Did all the boys in this university forget to eat some brain-dead pills today? Xiao Lei's moral integrity was shattered along the way. Isn't that the teacher with smelly feet? Let's get away from him. Don't let him stink. That's right. I bought these new clothes today. I'm waiting for Sherman to come on a date with me tomorrow. I don't want to get stink from him. Stop it. Wait for me. I don't want to stay with that teacher with smelly feet. It's so embarrassing. Xiao Lei watched as the three coquettish boys ran away because they despised him. He was so angry that he almost fainted. I haven't despised you guys yet. Director Xiao Lei, over here. Xiao Lei was still fuming when a voice came from behind. Hey, it's Gao Tianyao. What's the matter? Xiao Lei quickly hid his displeasure when he saw Gao Tianyao. He didn't dare to offend Gao Tianyao, as he was a disciple of one of the 5 small clans in the provincial capital. Director Xiao Lei, we're old friends. You don't have to be so courteous with me now that we're not in class. Gao Tianyao patted Xiao Lei's shoulder and laughed. When Qin Feng was still teaching at Provincial Capital University, Gao Tianyao and Xiao Lei loathed him because he was too famous and liked to tease Hua Yin, Chang Xian, and Xiao Shi. The two of them even formed an underground alliance. Xiao Lei even suggested Gao Tianyao to kidnap Qin Feng and force him to give up on his pursuit of Xiao Shi and Chang Xian. Xiao Lei even suggested that Gao Tianyao kidnap Qin Feng and force him to give up on Xiao Shi and Chang Xian. Both of them thought that Qin Feng must want his life, and Qin Feng's reputation would be ruined. However, before they could carry out their plan, Qin Feng was expelled from the university. Now that Qin Feng was gone and Xiao Feng, who was as annoying as him, came, Gao Tianyao looked for Xiao Lei again to form an alliance. Chapter 6:15. Hee, since Mr. Gao Tianyao said so, I won't stand on ceremony with you. Xiao Lei could roughly guess Gao Tianyao's intention when he saw Gao Tianyao taking the initiative to talk to him. Gao Tianyao smiled and said, Director Xiao Lei, I've heard about what happened to you a few days ago. Don't be sad. I believe that Director Xiao Lei is very knowledgeable in Western medicine. You must have been going easy on those exchange students from St. Medical Institute. Otherwise, how could they have one against you? Xiao Lei had been sulking ever since he was humiliated by Willis and the others in class a few days ago. Whenever he walked on the campus of Provincial Capital University, the students who passed by would greet him warmly and call him Mr. Stinky Feet. Even Xiao Lei himself did not expect that he would become a celebrity in Provincial Capital University one day. The reason he became famous was because he picked his feet in class. Now that he heard Gao Tianyao's words of consolation and praise, Xiao Lei's gloomy mood was lifted immediately. It was as if he had found an alien companion. He held Gao Tianyao's hand tightly and said, Yes, you are right. I can only blame myself for being too shrewd and too high a level that none of the students in Provincial Capital University can understand me. I'm like the son of heaven who has fallen into the mortal world. I've tasted the loneliness and solitude that only the strongest can experience. I never thought that Mr. Gao Tianyao would be able to understand me. Your words have touched me. If I had displayed my true strength that day, those 5 exchange students would not have been able to defeat me. They are still young. What if they lost the medical competition and decided to commit suicide, hang themselves, or jump into the river? Have the others thought of these far-reaching problems? No. Sigh. I'm the only one who could think of that. Gao Tianyao had no idea where Xiao Lei's bragging had reached, but he could no longer bear it. However, in order to take revenge on Xiao Feng, Gao Tianyao put on an expression that said, I understand you, and looked at Xiao Lei tenderly. It was rare for Xiao Lei to find a companion who liked to listen to his bragging. After a while, Xiao Lei's unhappiness from the past few days vanished into thin air, and he started to praise Gao Tianyao again. Haha, student Gao Tianyao, I've also heard about your defeat in the medical competition of Class 1. I know that student Gao Tianyao has the same thoughts as I do. You deliberately let those exchange students win. As a disciple of a large family in the capital, you have been brought up strictly since you were young. You are a talent who is well-versed in both the pen and the sword. Your medical skills are on par with mine. Not to mention those 5 exchange students. Even their team leader, Professor Mike, can't compare to 1/10 of us. Don't you think so? Gao Tianyao felt a surge of warmth in his heart. He was so touched that he almost cried. He realized that he did not waste his time listening to Xiao Lei's boasting. No, Xiao Lei did not know how to boast at all. Everything he said was true and penetrating. Ever since Xiao Feng stole Gao Tianyao's limelight and sent him flying with a kick, Gao Tianyao's mood had been as low as Xiao Lei's ever since. However, at this moment, Gao Tianyao's heart was filled with joy. He had finally found his soulmate. Yes. Director Xiao Lei is really far-sighted. You managed to see through my deep concealment. I'm a little embarrassed. Xiao Lei waved his hand and said in a serious manner, Hey, I'm here to help you. Gao Tianyao, you don't have to be so humble. Others may not understand us, but we understand each other. How can an ordinary person understand our strength and talent? It's so lonely to be invincible. Haha, Director Xiao Lei is right. It's one of the happiest things in life to be able to find a soulmate like Director Xiao Lei. Xiao Lei and Gao Tianyao praised each other for a while before Xiao Lei brought the topic back to the main topic. By the way, Gao Tianyao, is there anything I can help you with? Gao Tianyao finally remembered the purpose of his visit. He hastily said, Director Xiao Lei, do you still remember the plan we made to deal with Qin Feng? Xiao Lei had already guessed Gao Tianyao's purpose of coming here, and it seemed that he was right. Of course, I remember. But hasn't that idiot Qin Feng been fired? Xiao Lei feigned ignorance and waited for Gao Tianyao to spill the beans. That idiot Qin Feng is gone, and now there's an even bigger idiot, Xiaofeng. This brat has only been here for 2 days, but he's even more eye-catching than Qin Feng. I heard that he's interested in Xiao Shi and Chang Xian, and he even flirts with them during and after class. Gao Tianyao liked Xiao Shi and Xiao Lei liked Chang Xian. Xiaofeng flirted with the two beauties, and it made Xiao Lei and Gao Tianyao very unhappy. That idiot Xiaofeng has been an eyesore for a long time. Do you want us to use the same plan on Xiaofeng? Xiao Lei looked at Gao Tianyao and asked, Director Xiao Lei, you're really smart. I didn't even say anything, but you already figured it out. What do you think? Are you going to do it or not? How could Xiao Lei not do it? He hated Xiaofeng to the core, and he couldn't wait to get rid of this bastard. Of course I'm going to do it. When are we going to do it? After Xiao Lei agreed to it, Gao Tianyao's eyes lit up. He whispered in Xiao Lei's ear for a while. Xiao Lei chuckled from time to time and clapped his hands. Haha, great. Let's do it. Xiaofeng's reputation is going to be tarnished to the bottom of the drain. After Gao Tianyao and Xiao Lei discussed the plan, they divided the work and went back to work. Xiao Lei returned to the medical college's class 1. The first and second period of the morning were his Western medicine class. Xiao Lei didn't dare to sit in class anymore. Every time he sat down, the students would say that he was picking his feet. However, Xiao Lei's teaching skills were too poor. He had to follow the textbook in class, and the students were used to it. Moreover, with Xiaofeng around, none of them liked the Western medicine class. The atmosphere in the class was lifeless. Some were playing with their phones, sleeping, and some were flirting with girls. The two classes felt as long as 2 centuries. Xiao Lei would look at his watch from time to time as if he was waiting for an opportunity. 5 minutes before the end of the class, Xiao Lei suddenly put down the textbook in his hand and looked at Xiao Shi who was sitting below the podium. Ahem. Xiao Shi, can I trouble you to go to the office on my behalf? I've left the homework on my desk. Sorry for troubling you, Xiao Shi. Xiao Lei had been in class for the past 2 periods, and no one had paid any attention to him. At this moment, everyone raised their heads and glared at him. Who do you think you are? You want to trouble our goddess Shi to run errands for you? Are you looking for a beating? What the fuck? What did that stink-footed guy just say? Asking goddess Shi to carry his things for him? Don't tell me this guy's brain is damaged by the smell? Stop assigning homework. We won't do it even if you do. Ever since Xiao Lei had fawned over the exchange student from the Saint Secondary Medical Institute and claimed that Chinese medicine was inferior to Western medicine, the students of the medical institute had turned their backs on him. It was already very kind of them to allow him to stand here and attend class in peace. Xiao Lei didn't expect that his casual remark would cause such a huge rejection. He was so angry that his lungs were about to explode. However, he had to get Xiao Shi out of the classroom. Otherwise, he and Gao Tianyao would not be able to carry out their plan. The students in the class were still cursing Xiao Lei. Xiao Lei suppressed his anger and tried to persuade Xiao Shi, but before he could open his mouth, Xiao Shi, who was sitting by the window under the sunlight, suddenly stood up. She said nothing and quietly walked out of the classroom. Goddess Shi, don't go. I'll go for you if you want to. Sigh. Goddess Shi is too kind. I fell in love with her unknowingly. What should I do? But I already have Rao Sherman. What should I do? Xiao Shi quietly left the classroom. The class was in an uproar again. Xiao Lei couldn't hear the students' discussion anymore. He watched Xiao Shi walk out of the classroom with a smirk on his face. Not long after Xiao Shi left the classroom, a scream rang out. The boys in the class immediately rushed out of the classroom because it was Xiao Shi's voice. More than 30 boys from the first class surrounded the empty space outside the classroom in a breath's time. The woman who had restrained Xiao Shi was shocked. The class was not over yet, was it? The one who kidnapped Xiao Shi was a woman with average looks. She was tall and sexy, but her body was curvaceous. The woman held a sharp dagger in her hand and pressed it against Xiao Shi's neck. Hey, what do you want, woman? Let go of our goddess Shi. Do you want to kidnap a hostage? Just let go of Shi and kidnap me. A few boys licked their lips as they stared at the woman's voluptuous breasts. The woman didn't say a word. Her hand that was holding the dagger was trembling. Apparently, she was frightened by the fanatical boys. The woman was a gangster hired by Gao Tianyao. The reason why he hired a woman to kidnap Xiao Shishir was because he was interested in her. How could he allow a man to touch her body? The boys from the first class ran out of the classroom for a while. The girls and Xiao Lei finally came to their senses and followed them. More than 50 students from the first class surrounded Xiao Shishir and the woman. The students were stunned by the scene in front of them. How could there be a kidnapping on campus? The commotion was so loud that the students from the second class rushed out of the classroom. The students from the other theaters who were skipping classes also came to the scene. Some teachers who were taking a stroll also came to the scene. The exchange students and lecturers from the St. Second Med University also came to the scene. Some of the university leaders thought that there was a gang fight, so they quickly came to the scene. Many stray dogs on campus also came to the scene. No one knew how much time had passed since Xiao Shishir's scream, but there were already 400 to 500 people gathered outside the classroom, and the number was increasing rapidly. Xiao Shishir was still in a daze. She couldn't figure out why the woman behind her wanted to kidnap her. The woman in the brown leather coat was also in a daze. She thought, what kind of woman did I kidnap? Xiao Lei and Gao Tianyao were standing in two corners of the crowd. They looked at each other with sinister glints in their eyes. Their plan was progressing smoothly. They were not afraid of the crowd because the more people gathered, the more embarrassing Xiao phone would be. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Xiao Lei's phone vibrated. He opened the message from Gao Tianyao and asked, the crowd is almost here. Where's Xiao Feng? Xiao Lei quickly replied, Xiao Feng has 3 or 4 classes in the morning. He'll be here soon. Gao Tianyao calmed down after he read Xiao Lei's message. At this time, a tall and sturdy figure was walking toward them. Beside Qin Feng was a tall and beautiful woman. It was none other than teacher Chang Xian. Qin Feng was joking around with Chang Xian. Chang Xian furrowed her brows and quickened her pace. It was obvious that she didn't like Qin Feng. Chapter 6:16. Is there a person named Xiaofeng in your school? Hurry up and tell that heartless man to come out. The woman in the leather jacket who kidnapped Xiao Shishir finally spoke. Her words startled everyone. Read the latest version of this book. Oh no, Professor Xiaofeng has cheated a woman of her body, and she has come to our school. What should we do? Will Professor Xiaofeng be expelled? How could Professor Xiaofeng do this? That woman is too ugly. Why didn't he ask her out on a date? He's here. Professor Xiaofeng is here. Qin Feng bumped into Chang Xian as soon as he arrived at the entrance of the medical college. Qin Feng pestered Chang Xian and started chatting with her. When they reached the entrance of the medical college, Qin Feng heard some students calling his name. Then, over 300 students, teachers, and a dozen stray dogs shifted their gazes to Qin Feng. Qin Feng jumped in fright. He wondered if these people were going to rape him. Even if they are going to rape me, why are there a dozen stray dogs among them? Before Qin Feng could open his mouth to ask, he heard a student yelling, Professor Xiaofeng, run! Teacher Xiaofeng, run! Your lover is here. Qin Feng's mouth twitched, and he almost burned the yelling student with a fireball. The woman's gaze fell on Qin Feng. Gao Tianyao had sent her Xiao Feng's photo, so she recognized him at first glance. She cried out in pain, Xiao Feng, you heartless man. I've been treating you wholeheartedly, buying you clothes and paying your credit card every month. I was wondering why you spent so much money every month. It turns out that you've kept a little vixen in the school. Xiao Feng, how can you face us? I'm telling you, I'm pregnant with your flesh and blood. The students were stunned. They had only guessed that Professor Xiaofeng's lover was here to make trouble, but they didn't expect it to be true. How could Professor Xiaofeng be so careless? He should have used a condom. Chang Xian, who stood beside Qin Feng, was also stunned. She hastily took 3 steps back and kept a safe distance from Qin Feng. Chang Xian crossed her arms in front of her chest and glared at Qin Feng angrily. She did not expect him to be such a scumbag. Of course, the person who was most shocked was Qin Feng himself. He looked at the woman in the brown leather jacket who kidnapped Xiao Shishir. He didn't even want to comment on her appearance. Although her body was hot, it couldn't compare to Lu Bingbing and Han Ying. Moreover, her temperament was far superior to Su Qiuyu, Zhao Lingxian, and Lin Beibei. As a hedonistic young master, Qin Feng always had very high standards for women. He really couldn't understand how this ugly woman had the nerve to frame him. You can slander my reputation, but you can't slander my aesthetic standards. Brat, don't move. Before Qin Feng could regain his senses, a black shadow suddenly appeared behind him. It was a man with a long scar on his face. He held a gun in his hand, and the pitch-black muzzle was pressed against the back of Qin Feng's head. Chang Xian was startled and fell to the ground. This was the first time in her life that she had seen a kidnapping in real life. Moreover, the kidnapper was armed with a gun. The scar-faced man glanced at Chang Xian, who was lying on the ground. He couldn't help but glance at Chang Xian's slender, silky legs. She was indeed a top-grade beauty. However, the scar-faced man quickly regained his senses and pointed the gun at Qin Feng. He was here to complete a mission. Brat, how dare you steal the woman I like? I'm here to take your life today. Whoosh! Cries of surprise rang out from the surroundings. Everyone had yet to recover from the shock of teacher Qiao Feng making a woman pregnant outside. Why the fuck did he make another one? Other women's husbands had come to the school. Who are you? Why are you pointing a gun at my man? Let him go. The woman in the leather jacket glared at the scar-faced man. The scar-faced man's face darkened. He glared at the woman in the leather jacket and said, "Who the hell are you? You said he's your man?" Qiao Feng is my man, and I have his flesh and blood in my stomach. Although he's a shameless playboy, you can't hurt him. I'm the only one who can bully him in this world. The woman in the leather jacket's acting skills were superb. Even the students who had yet to enter society were touched by her words. The scar-faced man sneered, "Hee hee, what a coincidence. The woman you kidnapped is my goddess. I'm here to cause trouble for this brat because he tried to seduce my goddess." After understanding the intentions of the knife-scarred man and the leather-clothed woman, everyone was stunned. Was this a movie set for a four-sided relationship? Qin Feng was analyzing the situation while the two men were talking. He could sense that the scar-faced man was not an ordinary person. His body was pulsing with inner qi. He was a Stage 2 inner qi martial artist. When the scar-faced man tried to kidnap Qin Feng sensed it and easily dodged it. He then sent the scar-faced man flying with a palm strike. However, Qin Feng didn't do that because Qiao Shi was still in the woman's hands. He was afraid that something bad would happen to Qiao Shi, so he was willing to have a gun pointed at his head. Qin Feng was sure that he didn't know the scar-faced man or the woman in the leather jacket. They seemed to be in cahoots, so someone must have hired them to put on a show. Qin Feng saw through the scar-faced man's strength. A Stage 2 inner qi martial artist was nothing in the martial arts world, but in front of ordinary people, a Stage 2 inner qi martial artist was the best of the best. If the scar-faced man really was Qiao Shi's secret admirer and kidnapped Qin Feng, then he didn't need a gun. In his eyes, Qiao Feng was an ordinary person, and the scar-faced man could kill him with a palm strike. The situation was too sudden, and there were many loopholes in the plan. Qin Feng didn't dare to act blindly without thinking, so he continued to observe the situation. The scar-faced man and the woman in the leather jacket fought for a while, but neither side was willing to let Qiao Shi go. The scar-faced man suddenly sneered, "Girl, I respect that you are also a person who is infatuated with love and as loyal as your big brother. Let me give you an idea. Let's not make a choice, and let this playboy of yours decide. Let's see what he chooses." The woman in the leather jacket hesitated for a while, then clenched her teeth and yelled, "Fine. I'll listen to you this once." The scar-faced man's face was filled with a wicked smile. After acting for a long time, he had finally entered the most exciting part. "Brat, I'll give you a chance to live. Now choose. Do you want to live, or do you want Qiao Shi to live? 2 lives, choose one." The scar-faced man increased the force of the gun in his hand and pressed it against the back of Qin Feng's head. The atmosphere suddenly became tense. Were these people crazy? Haha, big brother, This is a good idea. This way of playing is really exciting. The woman in the leather jacket also laughed crazily. Some of the students, teachers, and leaders realized that this wasn't a joke. They were really going to kill someone. Some of them secretly took out their cell phones and prepared to call the police. You damned old man in the crowd. What the hell are you doing? I'm telling you, if anyone dares to secretly touch her and call the police, I'll kill them first. The scar-faced man pointed his gun at the crowd, scaring the students into screaming. Many of them were already squatting on the ground, holding their heads in their hands. They were just kids. At this moment, those who secretly took out their cell phones secretly put them back into their pockets. The scar-faced man retracted his hand and continued to press the gun against Qin Feng's head. He said in a deep voice, "Brat, I'll give you 3 seconds to think about it. Don't you like Xiao Shi? Now is the time to show your true love. Do you want her dead, or do you want to live?" Qin Feng hastily said, "Don't shoot me first. I'm a teacher in this school, and my students like me very much. Why don't I find another student to exchange for me and help you find a new hostage?" Qin Feng's gaze fell on the students. None of them stepped forward to exchange for Qin Feng as a hostage. Instead, all of them took 3 steps back in unison. Ha ha ha. How can you be a good teacher in the eyes of the students? Bullshit. Don't waste my time. If you don't make a decision in 3 seconds, I'll shoot you. The scar-faced man was amused by the students' behavior, so he increased the strength of his gun. In the crowd, Xiao Lei and Gao Tianyao were so agitated that they almost screamed out loud. This was the trap they had set up for Xiao Feng. They believed that Xiao Feng would choose to live on his own, and if that happened, Xiao Feng's reputation would be ruined. 3. The scar-faced man began to count. The entire gymnasium was dead silent. Only the sound of the wind and the scar-faced man's hellish voice could be heard. 2. Xiao Shi began to struggle with all her might. Without her ability to sense all things, she was just a weak little girl. Xiao Shi couldn't use her summoning ability in school. She was afraid that she would scare the students and teachers. Moreover, the scar-faced man was holding a gun. Even if Xiao Shi summoned a dozen stray dogs to bite the scar-faced man, she might not be able to save Teacher Qiao Feng. Teacher Qiao Feng, please let me die. You know I'm tired of living. Xiao Shi's ethereal voice drifted into everyone's ears. Tears welled up in the eyes of many students. Xiao Shi had no friends and lived her life alone. It was not easy for her to get to know Qiao Feng, a man who could understand her, sense her summoning ability, and even enter the realm of creation. Xiao Shi gradually treated Xiao Feng as a friend, the only friend she had in her life. Xiao Shi's friend even bought a complete set of home appliances for her. He knew that Xiao Shi was wearing too little, so he bought her all kinds of warm and beautiful cotton-padded clothes. Xiao Shi didn't want to see Qiao Feng die because of her. 1. The scar-faced man didn't seem to hear Xiao Shi's cry. Everyone's heart was in their throats. Whether it was Teacher Qiao Feng or Xiao Shi, they liked both of them very much. If they had to die alone, they hoped that Teacher Qiao Feng would die. Stop right now. I'm the principal of Provincial Capital University, Wang Zhonghua. My friend, please don't be impulsive. This is just an emotional dispute. We can sit around a mahjong table and peacefully play mahjong while we solve this problem. Why do we need to use a gun? Wang Zhonghua was so scared that he jumped out. He had no choice but to step forward because he, as the principal, would bear the greatest responsibility if there was a murder in the school. When the scar-faced man learned that the person who jumped out was the principal, he couldn't remain calm. His gaze drifted into the crowd and looked in Gao Tianyao's direction. Gao Tianyao didn't expect Wang Zhonghua to come here for no reason. However, since the situation had developed to this point, Gao Tianyao wouldn't give up so easily. He shook his head at the scar-faced man. Stupid old man, I don't care who you are. If you dare to talk nonsense again, I'll shoot you first. After receiving Gao Tianyao's order, the scar-faced man became arrogant again. He aimed the black muzzle of his gun at Wang Zhonghua. Wang Zhonghua was so scared that he fell to the ground. Don't shoot. Everything can be discussed. Everything can be discussed. Wang Zhonghua saw that he couldn't persuade the kidnapper, so he didn't dare to say anything else. After all, he only had one life, and no one wanted to die just like that. The atmosphere in the gymnasium became even more oppressive. Xiao Shishir burst into tears and shook her head with all her might. When the scar-faced man saw that more and more people had gathered, he lost his confidence. He wanted to end the performance as soon as possible. P.S. Thank you, little friend Xian Yen, for your tips. Thank you, big brother, Uncle Not Cute, for your tips. His monthly votes have been a bit dismal these past 2 days. He's been hanging at the 10th place on the monthly votes ranking, and it's going to drop anytime. Friends who have monthly votes, please vote for him. Give him some motivation so that he can perform better. Chapter 617. Bastard, my patience is limited. I'll give you one last second to think. If you don't make your choice, I'll make the choice for you. I'll shoot you dead and be done with it. Scarface's cold voice echoed in the field. Everyone broke into a cold sweat for Professor Xiaofeng. Arg. Kill me. Hurry up and kill me. How can I watch my student die in front of me? As a responsible teacher, I don't care if I die. I'll be a hero again after 18 years. My glorious history will be remembered by the students, and my heroic deeds will be recorded in the history of Provincial Capital University. Kill me, Xiao Shishir. I hope I can meet you again in my next life. Don't feel guilty because I'm your friend, and I'm very happy. Qin Feng's crazed screams touched the hearts of thousands of students. 2 streams of tears rolled down Xiao Shishir's cheeks. She had never had a true friend in her life, but at this moment, she knew she had a true friend. Unfortunately, this friend of hers was going to die. What a painful realization this was. Don't hurt our Professor Xiaofeng. You bastard. Let him go. Professor Xiaofeng, you can't die. You still have a lesson to teach about picking up girls. The students' cries rang in the air. The leather-clad woman and Scarface were dumbfounded. They stared at Qin Feng helplessly. The script wasn't supposed to be like this. Shouldn't this bastard be scared witless, shivering, and losing control of his bowels before choosing to live on his own? How are we supposed to continue acting if you keep changing the script? Hey, why are you still standing there? Hurry up and kill me. Qin Feng was agitated and begged for death. Qin Feng had noticed that Scarface was a Stage 2 inner chi martial artist. How could he kidnap him with a gun? Therefore, Qin Feng had already guessed that the gun was fake. Qin Feng also spotted Xiao Lei and Gao Tianyao among the crowd. When he saw their expressions change from excitement to disappointment and anger, Qin Feng could roughly guess the mastermind behind this incident and their plan. Qin Feng was grateful to Gao Tianyao and Xiao Lei in his heart. He was worried about how he could gain Xiao Shishir's trust and complete the system's mission. These 2 people took the initiative to help Qin Feng arrange a bitter drama. Ding! Congratulations, host Qin Feng. For completing the quest, obtain Xiao Shishir's trust. You have successfully obtained Xiao Shishir's trust and become Xiao Shishir's confidant. The system rewards host Qin Feng 30,000 hedonist points and automatically activates the Heavenly Fortune Cave Pavilion. Ding! The hedonist sovereign system has issued an SSS rank quest. Help Xiao Shishir complete her revenge plan and revive the Spirit Beast Master Clan. The mission has no time limit. If host Qin Feng completes the mission, the system will reward host Qin Feng 100,000 hedonist points, a purple grade spiritual equipment lottery ticket, a star technology lottery ticket, and a Palace of Heroes lottery ticket. If host Qin Feng fails the mission, 200,000 hedonist points will be deducted, and host Qin Feng will not be able to access the star technology interface. While Qin Feng was thinking about Xiao Shishir's mission, the system beeped. Qin Feng raised an eyebrow when he saw the new mission. Xiao Shishir's revenge plan? She was such a kind girl. What kind of enemy would she have? Scarface came back to his senses. He was so angry at Qin Feng that he wanted to vomit blood. He was about to call it a day, collect his money, and go for a foot bath, but Qin Feng suddenly changed his mind. Damn it, don't talk nonsense with me. Do you want to die? I'll fulfill your wish. Have you thought it through? Scarface angrily gripped his gun and placed his index finger on the trigger. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They might not be able to see the panting teacher Xiao Feng again in the next second. Why are you so long-winded? If you want to kill me, be more straightforward. Don't tell me you don't know how to use a gun. Do you want me to teach you? Or could it be that your pistol is fake? Are you teasing us here? Qin Feng roared. Shoot him. Scarface's heart skipped a beat. He had a bad feeling that the gun in his hand was a fake. Did Xiao Feng see through it? According to the script Gao Tianyao gave to Scarface and the leather-clad woman, Xiao Feng would choose to live. But now, Xiao Feng was begging for death. Scarface was stumped. Don't shoot. I am willing to replace Xiao Feng as the hostage. Just when everyone was at a loss, the blonde Prince William stood up and slowly walked toward Scarface. Scarface was stunned. He didn't think there would be a student willing to die for Xiao Feng. Could this foreign student be Xiao Feng's boyfriend? Hey, don't come over. Stop right there. Scarface became nervous and shouted at Prince William with a Shaanxi accent mixed with Mandarin. But Prince William didn't stop. He looked at Qin Feng in confusion and asked, "What did Xiao Feng say?" Qin Feng smiled and said, "Prince William, come over here. He said he's willing to exchange you for me as the hostage." Prince William believed him and quickened his steps towards the knife-scarred man. The knife-scarred man panicked and angrily glared at Qin Feng. He wanted to slap him to death. How could this person be so shameless? You idiot. Don't come over. I said don't. Bang. Before Scarface could finish yelling, he suddenly fell to the ground. Prince William withdrew his hand and smiled at Qin Feng. Teacher Xiao Feng, I must have startled you just now. I've learned some martial arts since I was young, and I can kill hooligans with one hit. Qin Feng was slightly stunned. Scarface was a Stage 2 inner chi martial artist. He didn't expect Prince William to knock him out with one hit. Prince William wasn't as powerful as he was at Ghost Mountain. It seemed that this brat had broken through again. But the William family was a clan of mutants. Prince William's attack was very strange. Qin Feng saw a blue light flash in Prince William's palm as if it was covered with a layer of ice. Qin Feng's heart was heavy. It seemed that this mission was more difficult than he imagined. Xiao Feng, are you okay? Prince William waved his hand in front of Qin Feng when Qin Feng didn't speak. Qin Feng quickly came to his senses. I'm just a little shocked. I haven't recovered yet. Qin Feng pretended to be scared and patted his chest. Prince William said a lot of comforting words to Qin Feng. Qin Feng was confused. Don't tell me this guy really fell for me? Fuck. You bastard. How dare you kidnap our Xiao Feng? You're asking for a beating. I've always disliked you. If you kidnapped Xiao Feng for another second, I'll fight you to the death. Yes. If Prince William didn't make a move just now, I'll make a move. Scarface fell to the ground. The gun in his hand had fallen a few meters away and was no longer dangerous. The students who hadn't even dared to let out a fart all rushed forward, surrounding the unconscious Scarface and stomping on him violently, causing him to wake up. College students were an impulsive bunch. When they were impulsive, they acted as if they were on steroids. The scene had turned into a frenzy, and the stray dogs were barking in fear. The teachers and school leaders wiped the cold sweat off their foreheads. They thought to themselves that they shouldn't scare these kids with graduation credits. They had to treat them better. Xiao Lei and Gao Tianyao were dumbfounded when they saw the scene. They didn't expect their meticulous plan to end up like this. The woman in leather had witnessed the madness of college students. She was so scared that she dropped her dagger and ran for her life. She didn't even ask Gao Tianyao for his appearance fee. Xiao Feng, are you okay? Qin Feng looked at the students beating up Xiao Shishir, but he didn't stop them. Xiao Shishir suddenly ran to Qin Feng, grabbed his arm, and started checking his body. As the prettiest girl in the medical college, Xiao Shishir's every move touched the hearts of thousands of students. When they saw the pure goddess in everyone's hearts sticking to Xiao Feng with a concerned and shy expression on her face, they felt as if their hearts had been hollowed out. Another innocent girl had fallen into the devil's claws. Sure, I'm fine. Are you okay? That bastard tried to kidnap you with a dagger. I'm so angry. Qin Feng put on a concerned and angry expression. His big hand had already reached for Xiao Shirshi's neck. Xiao Shirshi's skin was as white as snow. It was smooth and soft like a freshly peeled egg. Xiao Shirshir only regained her senses after Qin Feng had touched her neck once. She was so scared that she took a step back. Xiao. Xiao Feng, I'm fine. Don't worry. Xiao Shirshir was so nervous that her little heart was beating wildly. This was the first time a boy touched her neck. In the next second, a trace of disappointment flashed across Xiao Shirshir's beautiful eyes. She suddenly remembered that Xiao Feng wasn't the first man to touch her. That hateful Qin Feng was the first. Suddenly, Xiao Shirshir hated Qin Feng because she felt that she had fallen in love with Xiao Feng. Ahem. Don't be nervous, Shirshir. I'm just concerned about your safety. I don't have any ulterior motives. Qin Feng had just gained Xiao Shirshir's trust, so he didn't want her to label him as a pervert so soon. Xiao Shirshir's pretty face blushed. There was still a trace of melancholy in her eyes. She nodded and said softly, Professor Xiao Feng, I'm a little tired. I'll take a leave of absence from your class. I'll go back and rest now. Xiao Shirshir left without hesitation. Her frail figure was like a fairy that had fallen into the mortal world, lonely and desolate. Qin Feng was fascinated by Xiao Shirshir's retreating figure. This girl's mood was unpredictable. Even Qin Feng couldn't figure out what she was thinking. While Qin Feng and Xiao Shirshir were flirting, the students of Provincial Capital University had tortured Scarface to the point that he was covered in cuts and bruises. When Qin Feng looked at the ground again, he was so shocked that he almost jumped up. What's going on with the dozen or so stray dogs hugging Scarface's body? Scarface was beaten awake from unconsciousness, then beaten back into unconsciousness. Qin Feng originally wanted to kick him a few more times. Who asked you to fucking point a gun at his head? However, when he saw Scarface's bloodied body, Qin Feng didn't have the heart to do so. The leather-clad woman didn't manage to escape. She was dragged back by the dozens of female students. It was Qin Feng's first time witnessing a fight between girls. The scene was even crueler than Scarface's. He could only hear the screams of the female students as they tore at the leather-clad woman's body. Bitch, how dare you frame our Professor Xiao Feng? Look at your face. Are you insulting Professor Xiao Feng's taste? I'll crush your nipple. Qin Feng was scared away by the screams of the female students, and so were the male students. Gao Tianyao and Xiao Lei were nowhere to be found. The teachers and university leaders shook their heads and sighed. Most of them left as well. Wang Zhonghua and some university leaders stayed behind. They had already called the police and were waiting for the police to arrive to hand over the matter. Because of this sudden farce, Wang Zhonghua had Qin Feng cancel the next 2 classes and arranged for counselors to escort the frightened students back to their dorms to rest. Professor Xiao Feng, wait for me. Qin Feng didn't have any classes and was about to return to Yin Wushuang's villa when he heard Prince William's voice. Chapter 6:18. Qin Feng stopped and turned to look at Prince William. Prince Wei, what's the matter? Prince William stopped in front of Qin Feng and looked at Qin Feng in surprise. He had stepped forward to save Xiao Feng's life when thousands of students had retreated. How could teacher Xiao Feng act as if nothing had happened? He didn't even say a word of thanks. As if sensing Prince William's confusion, Qin Feng smiled apologetically and said, By the way, Prince Wei, thank you for saving me just now. However, teacher Xiao Feng is a clean man and only earns a meager salary every month. Even if you ask me to borrow money, I don't have it. Prince William's mouth twitched violently. What was he talking about? The reason why Prince William saved Qin Feng this time was to curry favor with him. A few days ago, Professor Mike had told Prince William about Xiao Feng's importance. If he could bring Xiao Feng back to the William family's base and have him serve the William family, then the William family's strength would increase rapidly. Teacher Xiao Feng, you must have misunderstood me. I'm not asking you to borrow money. I want to treat you to a meal. Do you have time? Prince William was very gentlemanly. In addition, he was tall and burly, and he had the aura of a prince. If these words were said to a girl, that girl would probably faint from joy. Qin Feng's expression didn't change at all. He was even a little confused. Qin Feng appeared as Xiao Feng and didn't have much of a relationship with Prince William. Prince William had saved him and taken the initiative to treat him to a meal. Qin Feng's hair stood on end. Don't tell me he wants to sleep with me? No. Don't tell me this guy knows I'm Qin Feng? No matter which guess it was, Qin Feng felt a bit uneasy. However, on the surface, he said calmly, "Student Prince Wei, you just saved my teacher's life. Logically speaking, I should be the one treating you to a meal. Why are you so polite to me? We didn't know each other before, right?" Qin Feng asked Prince William tentatively. Prince William laughed awkwardly, haha. Speaking of which, I'm not afraid of teacher Xiao Feng laughing at me. Although we didn't know each other before, the other students at Provincial Capital University seemed to reject me. Only teacher Xiao Feng was friendly and took care of me. I've just arrived and will be staying here for a few years, so I want to have a good relationship with teacher Xiao Feng. I hope teacher Xiao Feng can give me some pointers in the future. Qin Feng heaved a sigh of relief. As for why the students of Provincial Capital University hated Prince William, Qin Feng pretended not to know anything. So that's how it is. I believe that if you stay in school for a long time, your classmates will slowly get to know you and like you. As your teacher, I will take care of you. You don't have to worry about that. Qin Feng patted Prince William's shoulder as if he was a teacher. Prince William was touched and nodded. Thank you, teacher Xiao Feng. I heard that 3 or 4 classes have been canceled. Why don't I treat you to a cup of coffee now? Prince William wanted to rope in Xiao Feng. He had some secrets that he wanted to tell Xiao Feng in a quiet place. This big field was obviously not a good place to talk. Qin Feng used the identity of a teacher to infiltrate Provincial Capital University in order to investigate the William family. Prince William was definitely one of the members sent by the William family, and Qin Feng wanted to get close to him. Hee. All right, let's find a place to sit. Qin Feng agreed. Prince William was excited and was about to leave with Qin Feng when Wang Zhonghua ran over. Teacher Xiao Feng, are you going to leave now? Principal Wang, Prince Wei saved my life just now. I want to treat him to a cup of coffee. Qin Feng said to Wang Zhonghua with a smile. Is that so? But the police will be here soon. Xiao Shi has already left, and you are the other victim. Do you want to stay behind to give a statement? Wang Zhonghua looked at Qin Feng awkwardly. Qin Feng's priority was to investigate the William family. He didn't have the time to give a statement. He put on an impatient expression and said, Principal Wang, can you find any student to pretend to be the victim and let them say a few words? I'm leaving with Prince Wei. Qin Feng left without any hesitation. Wang Zhonghua shouted at Qin Feng a few times, but it was useless. Wang Zhonghua was so angry that he blew his beard and glared at Qin Feng. However, he couldn't do anything to Xiao Feng, who asked Xiao Feng to be the school's most popular teacher. Many schools had begun to secretly pay a high price to poach Xiao Feng. Principal Wang didn't dare to offend this great Buddha. Qin Feng walked halfway, then turned around and ran back. Both Prince William and Wang Zhonghua were puzzled. Teacher Xiao Feng, if you have something to do, go do it. I'll help you deal with the police. Wang Zhonghua's cold expression immediately blossomed like a flower, and he looked at Qin Feng with a smile. Qin Feng's impatient expression also disappeared. His eyes sparkled as he stared fixedly at the policewoman who was walking over. The policewoman wore a neat and tidy police uniform. Her long hair was braided at the back of her head. She was tall and slender, and she looked valiant and formidable. She had already attracted many students' attention. Haha, what are you saying, Principal Wang? I was the victim just now, so of course I have to personally come out and cooperate with the police investigation. How could I trouble Principal Wang to help me deal with the aftermath? Wang Zhonghua didn't know what to say. Qin Feng went from east to west, then to west. He didn't know which sentence was true. At this time, the valiant and formidable policewoman arrived at Wang Zhonghua's side. Her beautiful brows were slightly raised, and her voice was cold but pleasing to the ear. Excuse me, are you Provincial Capital University's Principal Wang? Seeing the policewoman, Wang Zhonghua's eyes lit up. This woman was beautiful, tall, and had a good figure. She also exuded an air of righteousness. She was truly a rare beauty. I am. I am. I was the one who reported the case in front. 2 criminals broke into the school and almost hurt one of our teachers and one of our students. Wang Zhonghua gave a brief account of what happened. The 2 subordinates behind the policewoman were using pins to make simple notes. Did the 2 criminals escape? Are the student and teacher who were kidnapped okay? The policewoman inquired. The criminals didn't escape. They were captured by our university's heroic students. The student who was injured was frightened and has been sent home to rest. The teacher who was injured is also fine. He's the teacher beside me. He's our medical college's gold medal lecturer. Even at this time, Wang Zhonghua didn't forget to praise Qiao Feng. Qin Feng ignored Wang Zhonghua. Ever since the policewoman appeared, Qin Feng's gaze fell on her and couldn't move away. Lu Bingbing's line of sight shifted and fell on Qin Feng. Coincidentally, their eyes met. Is this the gold medal lecturer you were talking about? Lu Bingbing's voice was ice-cold. A frosty expression appeared on her face because the way Qin Feng looked at her made Lu Bingbing very unhappy. It was as if he wanted to see through her clothes. Wang Zhonghua glanced at Qin Feng and jumped in fright. Qin Feng's eyeballs wished he could stick onto Lu Bingbing's body. He even had a vulgar expression like a pig head. Wang Zhonghua admitted that the policewoman in front of him was very beautiful and exquisite. But you can't express it so bluntly, can you? It's said that Professor Qiao Feng is the school's expert in picking up girls, but it doesn't seem like it. Ahem. Professor Qiao Feng, Professor Qiao Feng. Wang Zhonghua hastily poked Qin Feng twice. Qin Feng recovered with great difficulty. He actually met Lu Bingbing. If there was no one around, Qin Feng would definitely go up and give her a bear hug and grope everywhere. Haha. Hello. I'm Qiao Feng, a teacher at Provincial Capital University. I'm also the victim who was kidnapped just now. It's my honor to meet such a beautiful policewoman. I was frightened just now and I'm very scared now. Can I hug the beautiful policewoman to comfort me? Qin Feng pretended to shiver in fear and reached out to hug Lu Bingbing. Lu Bingbing was so angry that she hastily retreated. She wished she could send Qin Feng flying with a kick. Wang Zhonghua was so shocked that his eyes almost fell out. Qin Feng was still alive and kicking a moment ago, and even had the mood to invite Prince Wei for coffee. But now, he's scared like a little rabbit. Isn't this guy too wretched to pick up girls? Xiao Zhang, take the victim's teacher to the car. Xiao Lu, take the 2 criminals to the car. Lu Bingbing ignored Qin Feng and began to order her 2 subordinates. The 2 of them hurriedly went to work. Qin Feng was dragged by Xiao Zhang to the car. After every 3 steps, he would stop and turn back to smile at Lu Bingbing. Lu Bingbing was so angry that her chest rose and fell. Many of the spectating students swallowed their saliva. Professor Qiao Feng, didn't you say you were going to have coffee with me? Prince Wei's Chinese wasn't very good. He only realized the situation had changed when Qin Feng was dragged into the police car. Qin Feng suddenly saw Lu Bingbing. So how could he have the mood to drink coffee with Prince Wei? He waved his hand and said, Prince Wei, I have to cooperate with the police to record a statement. I'll look for you when I come back. Qin Feng and the 2 criminals were loaded into the car. Lu Bingbing got into another car. The car whizzed past and drove back to the police station. It was dark in the police station's interrogation room 3. Qin Feng sat on a wooden chair. Lu Bingbing suddenly turned on the table lamp and pointed it at Qin Feng. The light was so blinding that Qin Feng couldn't open his eyes. Name. Lu Bingbing's voice was cold and emotionless. Xiao Feng. Qin Feng looked at Lu Bingbing's handsome face through the gaps between his fingers. Qin Feng suddenly felt that this scene was very familiar. He remembered when he had just received the system. Sima Tu, Hao Yun, and Zhou Kai had set up a Hongmin banquet at the Amethyst Dragon Palace. Qin Feng had gone to the banquet by himself, and Zhang Biao had been captured and forced to fight underground. Qin Feng couldn't stand it anymore, so he had stepped in to help. In the end, he had a breakthrough in the fight and killed Hao Yun's bodyguard, Uncle Feng. Then, Lu Bingbing had appeared and captured Qin Feng. She had used the same interrogation method in the interrogation room. That was the first time Qin Feng had met Lu Bingbing. In the blink of an eye, 5 months had passed. Thinking back, Qin Feng felt that it was quite funny. Age. I'm at the age to talk about marriage. I feel that I'm very compatible with you, Beauty. Beauty, do you want to consider me? Qin Feng smiled as he looked at Lu Bingbing. He wasn't afraid of Lu Bingbing's cold attitude. Bang! Lu Bingbing slammed her palm on the table. She was so angry that her chest rose up and down. Behave yourself, or else I won't go easy on you. Hurry up and tell me what you did. Qin Feng's eyes widened as he looked at Lu Bingbing dumbly. Beauty, are you serious? I'm the victim. Lu Bingbing suddenly raised her head. She had really made a mistake. In a fit of anger, she had treated Xiao Feng as a criminal and interrogated him. Who told Xiao Feng to keep staring at Lu Bingbing and leave a bad impression in her mind? I know you're the victim. Do I need you to remind me of that? Lu Bingbing felt a bit awkward, but she still put on a strong front. But the way you interrogated me, it was clearly the same way you interrogate a criminal, right? Qin Feng smiled as he looked at Lu Bingbing. Chapter 619. Qin Feng didn't think that Lu Bingbing would still be so bad-tempered and unreasonable after being transferred to the capital. However, Qin Feng liked the willful and arrogant Lu Bingbing. Pretty lady, aren't you being unreasonable? As a police officer, you have to set an example. You can't abuse your personal feelings and bully poor commoners like us. Qin Feng said seriously. Lu Bingbing's face was cold, but she was still a very upright woman. She knew that she lost her head in anger and mistook Qin Feng for a criminal to interrogate. The two stared at each other for a while. Then Lu Bingbing said coldly, Sorry, I was careless before. You're not a criminal, you're a victim, so I should treat you better. Qin Feng was stunned by Lu Bingbing's sudden admission of wrongdoing. Qin Feng was secretly delighted to see this girl's awkward expression. Beauty, can't you just verbally apologize? Lu Bingbing was naturally cold and arrogant. It was rare for her to lower her head and admit her mistake. Seeing that he didn't stop, Lu Bingbing angrily yelled, Then what do you want? Qin Feng smiled as he stared at Lu Bingbing's white shirt collar and said, How about you let me hug you? I'm still a bit scared. I promise I won't say anything about you bending the law for personal gain. Lu Bingbing was furious. How was Xiao Feng afraid at all? This brat lied without batting an eyelid. Impossible. Stop pretending. You don't look scared at all. Lu Bingbing's voice was icy cold. If you don't want a hug, then don't hug. How about a kiss? Qin Feng looked like a rascal. Slap. Lu Bingbing was so angry that she almost smashed the wooden table with her palm. Qin Feng met Lu Bingbing's frosty gaze, but he wasn't afraid. He leisurely crossed his legs. Dream on. I'm warning you. Don't push your luck. Lu Bingbing was truly angry. Qin Feng also stood up. His figure flashed and disappeared in front of Lu Bingbing, giving her a fright. In the next second, Lu Bingbing felt a strong arm tightly hugging her. A gust of hot air blew into her ear. I'm going to push my luck. What are you going to do about it? You, let go of me. You bastard. I'll kill you with my spear. Lu Bingbing's catchphrase didn't change. She struggled with all her might. Lu Bingbing was now a stage 2 inner chi martial artist, but she discovered that she couldn't break free from Xiao Feng no matter how hard she tried. Xiao Feng's damned perverted pig trotters were already groping all over Lu Bingbing's body. Ah, you pervert. Let go, let go. Lu Bingbing was so anxious that she was about to go crazy. Ever since she became Qin Feng's woman, she had more self-respect and self-respect. Not to mention having an affair with other men. She didn't even talk to her male colleagues about work. However, Lu Bingbing was being hugged and groped by a stranger. She was about to go crazy. Lu Bingbing struggled more and more. She even kicked the table over. Qin Feng was worried that Lu Bingbing would get hurt, so he didn't dare to tease this strong-willed girl anymore. Calm down, Bingbing. I'm Qin Feng. Lu Bingbing jumped in fright and stopped moving. Xiao Feng's voice still echoed in her mind. It really was Qin Feng's voice. If he wasn't Qin Feng, why would he call her Bingbing? Why you're really Qin Feng? Qin Feng had already let go of her. Lu Bingbing crossed her arms and looked at Xiao Feng vigilantly. Qin Feng put away the sacred azure battle armor and returned to his original appearance. His chiseled and resolute face appeared in front of Lu Bingbing. Lu Bingbing looked at Qin Feng and didn't speak for a long time. It was as if she had lost her soul. When Qin Feng saw the mist in Lu Bingbing's eyes, he felt sorry for her and pulled her into his arms. This time, Lu Bingbing didn't struggle. Instead, she pounded on Qin Feng's chest. "Damn man, stinky man, you bastard. Can you not change your appearance to scare me every time? Do you know that I was scared out of my wits just now?" Lu Bingbing turned from a cold and arrogant queen to a beautiful woman who complained. She seemed to have endless things to say. Her charming and coquettish expression made Qin Feng feel aroused. "Bingbing, I missed you so much. Let's start." Qin Feng suddenly grabbed Lu Bingbing's lily-white hand and lifted her up. Lu Bingbing screamed in fear. "Start what? Let go of me. There are surveillance cameras in here." Qin Feng wasn't worried at all. He laughed and said, "I've already blocked the surveillance cameras. Otherwise, your colleagues would have seen you acting coquettishly in my arms just now. Do you still have the face to stay in the police station?" Qin Feng could imagine the shocked expressions of the police officers when they saw the ice goddess, Lu Bingbing, acting coquettishly. "Ah, you're crazy. You can't do whatever you want even if there are no surveillance cameras." Lu Bingbing screamed again. Qin Feng had already put her on a table, and Qin Feng pressed on top of her. Qin Feng hadn't seen Lu Bingbing for a long time. The last time they were intimate was 4 months ago in Fengyan Fun City. At that time, Lu Bingbing had sex with Qin Feng because she was poisoned by the Azure Sect's unfettered powder. Due to many reasons, Qin Feng didn't have the time to unleash his full power in the last battle. Qin Feng missed Lu Bingbing's taste very much. This time, Qin Feng couldn't suppress the desire in his heart anymore. Lu Bingbing screamed continuously, and Qin Feng became even crazier. Lu Bingbing's eyes gradually became misty, and she was at Qin Feng's mercy. Strange noises came from the room. The two hadn't seen each other for a long time. When the fire was ignited, even a flood couldn't extinguish it. After an unknown amount of time, Lu Bingbing fell into Qin Feng's arms, panting. She stared at Qin Feng with hidden bitterness in her eyes. "Big pervert, now you feel good, right? Hurry and let go of my hands. I feel so uncomfortable when you tie me up with a belt." Qin Feng hurriedly unbuckled the belt on Lu Bingbing's hands. He laughed and said, "Uncomfortable? I saw that you were quite excited just now. Go die." Lu Bingbing glared at Qin Feng. Her gaze was so flirtatious that Qin Feng almost couldn't help but tie Lu Bingbing's hands again. "Stop fooling around. It's almost time for the interrogation. If you do it again, you'll be discovered." Lu Bingbing saw the fire in Qin Feng's eyes and hurriedly dissuaded him. Though Qin Feng was a bit reluctant, he was still someone who considered the big picture. He groped around Lu Bingbing's body for a while, then took the initiative to help Lu Bingbing put on her clothes. Lu Bingbing's face was cold and she didn't say anything. However, her heart was filled with warmth. She really liked this warm feeling. "Qin Feng, did you change your identity? I heard that you died." After Lu Bingbing put on her clothes, she looked at Qin Feng worriedly. She was saved by Qin Feng once when she was solving the case at Ghost Mountain in the provincial capital. At that time, Lu Bingbing saw Qin Feng's identity as Green Wolf. Therefore, when she saw the video of Green Wolf beating Qin Feng up, she didn't think that Qin Feng was really dead. She guessed that Qin Feng had changed his identity. Qin Feng stroked Lu Bingbing's hair as he said, "Of course I'm not dead. I faked my death on purpose. I'm now a member of the Dragon Sect. I came to the capital for a secret mission, so I changed my identity." Qin Feng didn't hide anything from Lu Bingbing, so he simply told her what happened. Lu Bingbing's sexy little mouth opened wide. She looked at Qin Feng in disbelief. What did you say? You joined the Dragon Sect?" China's Dragon Sect was mysterious and unfathomable. As a police officer, Lu Bingbing had naturally heard of the Dragon Sect. Moreover, Lu Bingbing really liked being a police officer. When she was young, her dream was to join the Dragon Sect and get rid of the tyrants. Unfortunately, the requirements of the Dragon Sect were too high. Only martial artists at stage 4 and above were qualified to join. Lu Bingbing had practiced martial arts since she was young, but she was only at stage 2 now. I'm not officially a member of the dragon sect yet. I'll only be considered a member after completing this mission, Qin Feng explained. As for the difficulty of this mission and the insidious fights in the dragon sect, Qin Feng didn't say much. He was mainly afraid that Lu Bingbing would worry about him. Lu Bingbing seemed to have thought of something. Her beautiful eyes suddenly flashed. Qin Feng, the person who defeated Southeast Tiger Uncle Fu and Capital Tiger Qi Wanjun at Devil Beast Mountain not long ago. Was it really you? Qin Feng nodded. Yes and no. The light in Lu Bingbing's beautiful eyes dimmed a little. She pouted and said, "What do you mean by yes and no?" Lu Bingbing's current expression of complaint and coquettish couldn't be seen by normal people. Qin Feng couldn't help but kiss Lu Bingbing's lips. Lu Bingbing's beautiful face blushed slightly. She pretended to be indifferent and acted as if nothing had happened. I did defeat Capital Tiger Qi Wanjun, but I defeated him with Uncle Fu's help. Everyone in the ancient martial arts world thought that Green Wolf defeated Qi Wanjun and Yuan Fu by himself. However, the truth was that Qin Feng and Yuan Fu teamed up and crippled Qi Wanjun's cultivation. Without Uncle Fu's help, Qin Feng, who had temporarily raised his strength to stage 9 inner Qi with the help of the Killer Book, wouldn't have been able to defeat Qi Wanjun. How could the 5 tigers of China be so easily challenged? Lu Bingbing's expression changed unpredictably. In the end, she nodded in realization. Uncle Fu's identity had been exposed. He was Yuan Fu, one of the 5 tigers of China. Lu Bingbing had stayed in Acropolis City for a while, so she naturally knew that Uncle Fu was Qin Feng's bodyguard. Lu Bingbing could understand why Uncle Fu acted this way. Bingbing, what's with your expression? Why are you so disappointed when you heard that I teamed up with Uncle Fu to defeat Qi Wanjun? Qin Feng was puzzled when he saw the change in Lu Bingbing's expression. Lu Bingbing pouted again. Her brows inadvertently revealed a hint of charm. I thought you defeated 2 tigers by yourself. If that's the case, you would at least be a stage 9 external or stage 9 inner Qi expert. Then, I can ask you to help me raise my realm. It turned out that after Lu Bingbing found out that Qin Feng had joined the dragon sect, she also wanted to join the dragon sect as soon as possible. That way, she could realize her dream and stay with Qin Feng. However, the most important thing to join the dragon sect was to raise one's realm. Hey, how can such a small thing stump your man? Tell me, what realm do you want to reach? Qin Feng patted his chest and said heroically. Lu Bingbing rolled her eyes at Qin Feng. Clearly, she thought he was bragging. You're so annoying. I'm serious. If you keep acting like this, I'll ignore you for a month. Lu Bingbing was very stubborn when she was angry. If she said she would ignore you for a month, she would do it. Qin Feng flipped his hand, and a blood-red pill appeared in his palm. A medicinal fragrance filled the air, and the entire interrogation room was filled with a rich medicinal fragrance. The pill seemed to be blood-red, and it shone brightly like flowing blood. Darling, what is this? Lu Bingbing covered her mouth in shock. She was so shocked that she even called Qin Feng darling. Qin Feng grabbed Lu Bingbing's hand and placed the pill in her palm. Lu Bingbing could even feel that the pill was freshly made. It still had a faint warmth. This is a blood Qi pill. If you eat it, you might directly break through to stage 4 inner Qi. At the very least, you'll be able to reach stage 3 inner Qi. It'll also stabilize your strength at the peak of stage 3 inner Qi. Qin Feng's expression was calm and collected. He wasn't putting on an act. Rank 2 blood Qi pills were nothing to Qin Feng now. As a rank 4 alchemist, Qin Feng could refine a basket of blood Qi pills at any time. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.